Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Just wanted to go ahead and get everything set up, and hopefully, we're all good to go here. Uh, as always, I am LioConvoy, and tonight we are doing a different segment here. It's called Sifting Through the Content. These are going to be live streams that I will do occasionally when we have, different creators that I don't really want to do an entire full video on, but has some content that people want me to take a look at. Usually short videos. Don't do what Grim did and send me a rag stream that's 4 or 8 hours long. No, I am not doing that. But anything that's like 15 to 3 minutes, we can do that. And after my video where I talked about Veridis Joe and his take on 80s cartoons, which he's still wrong about even as of today, um, people started talking about how they want me to look at some of the other content. So I put out a poll to see if anybody wanted to stream, and the overwhelming answer was yes, Father, I crave violence. So, firstly, please welcome Queen Serafina here. She runs a channel that I occasionally appear on. Sarah, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about yourself?
Hello. So I heard of like I guess one or two of the videos that Lion Cowboy was gonna talk about here, and the first one that I hear is diversity is in political, and as I'm as a trans woman, that obviously piqued my interest as a topic. So of course I was like, please let me let me do it. Um, I want to hear what he has to say.
Okay. Let's see here. Stream's being kind of goofy, telling me it's below regular bit rate, but I don't care, so we're going to continue.
Yeah, it's not buffering, so as far as I'm concerned.
Lion Cowboy is a bit of an inside joke. But
It's an inside joke.
if there's any if there's any audio qualities, just let me know. Opal is here, and she can just ping me on Discord. It'll be a lot quicker than telling me in the chat because there's that 30-second delay. As far as High Guardian Spice, Sarah is actually working on a video that I will be having segments in because I've got a lot to say about that dumpster fire.
Yeah, I put out like a very an edited reaction video with B like 2 days ago now. I don't even remember. It's not good. And I really want to hit it from the perspective of like not like it's woke garbage. It's just genuinely terrible, and it really doesn't.
Correct.
There's no love like in a lot of the things that it tries to do with like trans characters and whatnot, and I really want to talk about that.
So yeah, and here of course we don't do the whole haha. Uh, this is woke. We don't coach things in those languages. That's really bad analysis. So first of all, thank you all that are in the chat. I'm not going to read off everybody's name this time because thankfully we have a bunch of people here. But to answer Opal's question, this will be a live reaction because I think I've seen maybe two of this guy's videos. One of which I responded to, and the other one I completely forgot which one it was. But it was not this one. I was requested to see or look at diversity isn't political, so that's going to be the first one we're going to look at. If you guys have others you want to recommend, by all means, I'll take a look at them. Thank you very much for the very generous super chat, Random Pool Guy. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. You're right, he didn't. And the fact that, just so you're all aware, his girlfriend's court thing is going on right now too, and nobody's talking about that. Isn't that fascinating? All right, so just a little bit of background here. I know very little about Veridis Joe other than the fact that he is very young. He's 19, literally old enough to be my kid.
Well, you're
And
younger than I am.
yeah, and he apparently has some divisive opinions. He's not very knowledgeable about 80s animation. He parrots a lot of the talking points that idiots put out there. So I don't dislike him as a person because I don't know him as a person. I will say I believe that he's incorrect about a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to devalue or degrade him as an individual because that's not what I do. That's never going to be what I do. So, what we're going to do is we're going to thank you, Sky. Unless you turned 18, that's going to be shoved back down your throat, but thank you. And the Clintons didn't do it either. I have no clue. I just noticed the bio, Lio, no. Yes, my bio on Discord is very accurate. And my bio in the description telling people to go commission Missy is also accurate because she's the one that did the thumbnail art that everybody enjoyed. So look in the description for her name and go commission her.
And I'm disappointed in you, Missy.
What did Missy? Oh, because Missy. Yes, Missy is now one of the Halo boys, and Missy is not going to be a Wartwort
Elite
boy.
boy.
I mean, I would,
No
but I don't know
Wartwort.
how to do it, and trying to get Sarah to walk me through anything technical is like pulling teeth. So, we're going to be doing live reaction to this.
Yes.
And we're not going to be cruel. We're not going to be mean. And what I put as the pinned comment stays. I know that Joe is a very left-wing individual, but attacking him on a personal level will not be accepted here. And if I catch anybody who follows me pulling that stunt on Twitter, we're going to have words and they're not going to be pleasant. All right, so deep breath. Let's start this. Diversity isn't political. You ready?
15 minutes. First thing I see is Steven Universe on the screen. I know we're off to a great start.
Yes, we're gonna do the whole Sheldon thing. Well, we're gonna stop every 5 seconds because I need to talk about this other thing. No, we're not gonna do that. Anyways, continuing.
Oh boy, another video on discussion about media and representation and erasure. People seem to love those a lot, and it totally doesn't result in comment section discourse at all, ever. Boy.
I feel that. That's a mood right there.
Oh, Sheldon's in the chat. Rude.
But the funny thing is, I've got to get this short little anecdote. Years ago, I had a general question, a couple of general questions on my Facebook. One was about the difference between a war bonnet and hakama, because both come from warrior classes, both come from warrior cultures. And I just got a text from Opal. What does the child want? Sarah is roboting a little. Thank you, child. I'm sure that'll work itself out. It's probably just because of Opal's connection. We'll see. But I put that question out because war bonnets and hakama both come from warrior classes. The hakama is something only the samurai were permitted to wear, and war bonnets, of course, Native Americans. And I expected that conversation. This was like a decade ago. That conversation to burn out into a flame war. That's what I fully expected. It didn't. It was the most civil, polite conversation about a hot topic I've ever had. I learned a lot on that. Other people learned a lot. It was a really good conversation. But on the same day, I posted a thread about catch-as-catch-can wrestling, grappling. And I expected nothing to cut. I came back because I was delivering to a Dollar General at the time, and I put my phone down. I came back an hour later, and it was an absolute flame war that broke down into Fight Me IRL, unironic Fight Me IRL. And I'm just looking at that. I'm like, in what world is it that the one about a heated political social topic is the calm, respectable, and the one about wrestling is a flame war? It is fantastic. But
oh man,
let's continue. But no, Veridis, you're probably never gonna see this because you have no clue who I am. But I feel you on that, man. It is a mess.
I sure hope no problems come from a video like this.
Cosmo, do you think they're ready for a very probably boring discussion video on it? You're already bored. You don't want to hear what I gotta say. You don't want to hear a damn thing. He's ignoring me.
This will be interesting to say the least. I'll tell you that much.
We're off. I like it so far. I like it so far. Okay,
well,
it's great.
Too far into it, and the dog was absolutely an added bonus. Pets are awesome.
Yeah, need to open up my next big video with cats.
And Opal's right. I do give out my address for people to fight me, and amazingly, nobody's shown up yet. Okay, the video's kind of loud. All right, I'll go ahead and turn the video a little bit down for Opal.
One of my friends sent a post in our group chat along the lines of an obviously unofficial report that Spider-Man was finna have a boyfriend or guy love interest in the new upcoming movie. Obviously not true, but it sparked a bit of debate amongst us, seeing as some people have a problem with newer versions of characters having their sexuality changed for newer and more modern stories. And while this may sound kind of...
Wait, hold on. If he's talking about newer versions of characters, why is he using Adventure Time? Just a weird choice.
Newest versions of it? I'm like, is it... I think it's because it's a separate series, is it?
Well, right?
I haven't kept up with Adventure Time since it's
Distant Lands is a continuation, a little bit set in the future, unless it's BMO story that's set in the past. And man, you squared up against me already. It never worked well for you. Okay, let's see here. Continue.
Dumb and unimportant to complain against to some, I actually feel very inclined to. And this isn't an unpopular opinion either, as a lot of people do find the changing of a character's sexuality wrong. But I respectfully have a problem with them having a problem with that. Here's why. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. So what exactly is the topic of discussion for today? Well, basically, some people do not like new versions of old characters with their sexuality being altered, and they usually attribute it to virtue signaling or trying to appease the gays, because everything's political now, apparently.
Well, there could be a lot of reasons why people don't like it, to be honest with you. It could be a really subjective feeling of, well, I just don't like that drastic of a change personally, and I've been very, very, very consistent here. I generally don't care. As long as it's not like a defining feature of the character, I don't care if something small is changed like that. For example, if you were to change, I don't know, what was a good character to use here, one that nobody is really going to argue about. Let's go ahead and throw a bone to Opal. If you made Miku black, it wouldn't matter because she's a Vocaloid, and who and what she is not intrinsic to their race. It's just topical at that point. Whereas if you were to change, like Black Panther, T'Challa to white, that's a problem.
How do I put myself into words here? My problem with it is a lot of the times like this kind of stuff happens, I find it to be very confusing.
Yeah.
It's like it's a change that that doesn't make sense to me, at least. It doesn't really make sense because it rubs me the wrong way. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to do. Okay, it's just that like when it's there, you know what immediately happens.
Yeah.
You know, you start seeing the headlines running up, you start seeing the content creators start putting it in their thumbnails, and a big deal gets made about it, and then we move on to the next one.
Yeah, and then you see the quarter and do 5 videos about it, and then somebody comes around and it's like, actually, that character's always been X. You're just an SJW commie troll, blocked. I love dicking with that dude. I love dicking with that dude. But ultimately,
Jeremy Hamburglar.
The Hamburglar. My consistent value here is, how do I put this? Bad representation is worse than no representation. And in this case, if you're going to have characters that are XYZ thing, write them well. That tends to be a major point of contention here for a lot of people. And in fairness, or accuracy, I should say, because nothing is fair. In accuracy, a lot of people complaining about this, they don't care about this stuff. They don't care about comics. They don't care about cartoons. They don't care about any of it. They just want to gripe to gripe. And yes, I've seen all but the last episode of Jellystone, and I have laughed once in that entire thing. And for a comedy series, no. Greenblatt is a very skilled man, but I believe his talents are wasted on that project.
Let's see here. Hold on. Someone's saying volume levels are very off. Lio is super low. I was also a little bit low. I forgot my mic gain was like all the way down. Sorry about that.
Okay, how am I now? I'm trying to make sure that balance is proper here.
Yeah, I'm giving the chat a little bit.
This man isn't black. Yes, I get that Dragon Ball Super reference. But general changes, people are going to resist that because it's a change, and people in general don't like change, especially of things they know about. And I don't think that's necessarily always powered by bigotry or the isms of the day. It all varies, but let's go ahead and continue.
The issue people are having is with an existing character and creating an incarnation of them with a different sexuality than they originally apparently had. People usually refer to this as a form of virtue signaling, which, if you didn't know, means the action or practice of publicly expressing opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. But it's also a stupid buzzword homophobes, ableists, ignorant, and intolerant people use when they got a problem with something they don't understand.
Which is funny because what they're doing there is virtue signaling.
That is virtue.
I love it. I love it.
Did you not? You know what? Never mind.
Again, I've never seen this, so he might make that point. But
okay, he might make that point.
Let's find out.
It's usually the latter. Like most niggas I see using it on Twitter.com don't even know what the fuck it means.
I do love
like you're virtue signaling. Signal some bitches, nigga. See, the term virtue signaling is used by a lot of people when they just see progressive media and have a problem with it. That also goes for when they say that it's political. Having a diverse...
Well, I mean, technically it is virtue signaling, but only because that's just what that does. When you say I like or I do or I wouldn't do, that's all virtue signaling. If I were to write a story about the hero winning, that's virtue signaling because I'm signaling my values about liking it when heroes win. That's that's all it is. And it's fine. It's fine. It just depends on how it's done. A lot of times the problem is execution here, or if your entire sticking point for what you're producing is this has gay characters, this has minority characters, and this is made by gay or minority characters or trans people, if it's not a quality thing, and the best thing you can do is pin on the fact that it has diversity in it with no quality to that diversity, then you're kind of lost in the sauce.
Sauce.
Oh my god. Continuing.
Of characters in your current media isn't political. It's a sign of respect to all the people who watch your shit. And it's just normal to include people who exist and have them represented because, you know, they exist. But there's actually different categories that this argument fits into. Specifically 3 in my opinion, seeing as it usually falls under those 3. As a whole, altering a character to be more diverse, that falls into a case-by-case basis. And I'm gonna like going case by case right now, like as I speak. This one is the one that is
Based music choice.
It's definitely undeniably bad, seeing as the context involves the author of Harry Potter changing one of her characters into a gay man, one into a black person, and a lot of weird retconny things that fuck with the original source material. This is wrong because if you make an established work that is and has been concrete, and then make changes to it that obviously weren't originally thought of, that make little to no sense, and that contradict some of your own writing, people are gonna have a problem with that. No less if you're also transphobic.
You know, I'm kind of disappointed that before J.K. Rowling fell off like that wagon, that she didn't just start spewing random nonsense. It's like Harry Potter's actually a mech. He's piloted by a mini Hermione. You just never see her. She's in
you've never seen it.
If you put the letters in a certain way on each individual page, it spells it out. Haha.
Haha.
I would totally have dicked with people with that. I totally would have. I would have had a riot. Let's continue.
He's transphobic, but also retcon marginalized groups into her work to make it look more diverse. And this isn't to appease her audience because literally no one asked for it. It's for her to seem more accepting and less intolerant, when in actuality makes her look a lot more tone deaf.
Well, I mean, that's assuming intent. We really can't prove that. But you know what? I don't care for Harry Potter, and not because
I don't care for Harry Potter either.
not because it has no witchcraft, but because I'm the type of guy that if I see an evil sorcerer, my idea is to put him to the sword as quickly as possible. My value is if what's his face? What's his name? The villain's name?
Voldemort.
Yeah, if Voldemort showed up on my hood, I'd throw him in a wood chipper. Yeah, you might survive. You might reconstitute, but you're never gonna want to dick with me again because that's gonna suck. Continuing.
Honestly, like I said, this is the only version of this that is bad because you can quite literally make a reboot of the franchise with these new diverse characters and ideas that tell stories.
Okay. Then I really hope I never see this guy defending Masters of the Universe Revelation, because it's supposed to be a continuation of the classic series and they've changed a lot of stuff in it. Let's see if he's consistent in the future.
Stories that they're essential for, or just outright make new characters in their own story that do exactly that. But she's too lazy for that shit and just made tweets about whatever weird thing came to her mind that sounded progressive, when really you're just canonically making the series actually work.
Freddie Mercury is actually straight. Now that's just a disservice. That means their music sucks.
Means their music sucks, bro. Lamau.
Okay.
So bad that niggas don't even want to listen to you anymore. And that kinda sucks. Not for her though, trans rights, bitch. All this shit is just...
Everybody talks about trans rights. We're ever gonna get trans lefts, or are they just gonna walk around with only one arm this whole time?
You know, we talk about women's rights. We need to talk about women's wrongs, all right?
Oh my grandpa and my grandma used to go at it, like, playfully all the time whenever he'd ask her to do something small. She's like, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm liberated. Women's rights. And he would wake up like he's half asleep and go, if you don't shut up, I'm going to give you women's lefts. And he'd shake his fist at her. And of course he knew better, because like her like previous husband was dumb enough to lay hands on her, and bad things happened to him. That's why you don't dick with grandma. Let's continue.
Dumb and unnecessary. Hermione's black, but it's specifically written that she also has white skin. Haha, boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Well, I mean, what if she's like J. Moore and she has that vitiligo? You don't know? You can't read J.K. Rowling's mind? She can't even read her mind.
Wait, it's your blunder, nigga. I'd say just make a whole new series with these themes, but she's obviously not the one to make it. Trying to get brownie points surely damn well doesn't make you look good. It's not even the fact that these small changes play a factor in the story. That's not the problem. The problem is they weren't intended in the first place. To all of a sudden, years after your published work, make a big deal about certain things that obviously weren't there in the first place comes off as a bit off-putting. I mean, if I made a show that had no prior mention towards the character's race, had movie adaptations that established a common view of what the character's race would be, and about everything that pointed to them not being black or like gay, there's really no easy justification for it. It just looks very scummy. Some just don't sit right with me having a transphobe being able to make that shit. I think we can all agree on that. See, as expressed in the beginning of the video, you probably know that a lot of people are talking about a
Well, on top of look at our Tom Holland open to gay Spider-Man, agrees MCU means more than just straight white guys. So the article was about his personal subjective opinion about the Spider-Man franchise. People,
I mean, hopefully he's gonna show us more.
I guess let's hopefully.
hypothetically gay Spider-Man, and people have a problem with that because they feel it'd be made to appease the gays. And well, my response to that is, yeah, and homosexual ones weren't included for a while to make straight people not feel uncomfortable, while simultaneously literally not acknowledging a group of people that exist and that also consume media. Obviously, now we live in a more tolerant and accepting world where people have normalized, or at least are in the process of normalizing, showcasing same-sex relationships. So, yeah, they're appeasing the gays. Die mad. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna play you a little sad song on the world's smallest violin.
Well, the problem is if you're giving ground saying that they're doing it to appease the gays, and you kind of shot yourself in the foot for some of this, because at that point it does become a political aspect, doesn't it?
What? I'm just kind of...
I mean, if you're doing it saying, I like gays, I like gay representation, so I'm putting gay people in my work, like, you know, based, here's your crown king, that's fine, but... if it's a matter of doing it to appease a certain group, and that's the reason why you're doing it, just for appeasement, by the way, is a very specific thing.
I don't like that. I don't. You don't just put something in a work to appease somebody. What?
Yeah, appeasement is not the same thing as doing it because you organically enjoy that.
I mean, we had the whole. Like, one of my biggest complaints, like, again, I'm going to refer back to the little thing I put out on High Guardian Spice yesterday, or whatever the hell it was. You know, you have that one scene with Caraway saying, you know, oh, I'm transgender. And the way the scene plays out feels like they're just marking a checklist. And, you know, one of their biggest champions of, you know, promoting this series was its inclusiveness and whatever the hell they're putting in there. Marking a checklist is not a good thing.
Well, looking at this, it says appease, you know, pacify or placate someone by acceding their demands, or relieve or satisfy a demand or feeling. Pacifying the gays? That just sounds really condescending to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this whole appeasement. Like, oh, I don't care if they're just appeasing them. I think that's an issue within itself.
I'm sure I'm probably out of line there because I'm not gay, and I can't tell you how they feel about it. And of course, there is no zeitgeist to define how X group feels about Y thing. Opal wants you to elaborate why you think it's bad, but let's see.
I don't know. Like, I think it's probably the term appeasement within itself. It feels like it's encroaching on the whole checklist thing that bothers me. That's why it bothers me, Opal.
Real quick, Grim says, so JK changing your characters to gay is bad, but Disney changing characters they didn't create is gay to gays is good. I don't know if he even covers that here. Let's continue for now.
Is an impossible whopper. Get your estrogen levels up. Now on to Spider-Man. See, the problem with people...
You know, I actually tried an Impossible Whopper. It tasted like, what's the word I'm looking for? Lighter fluid. It wasn't good.
Having a problem with this type of alteration to a character includes the fact that there are so many fucking Spider-Men, it's unreal. Just alone, theatrically, there are 3 live-action Spider-Men and 8 animated ones. As for video games and cartoons, these niggas are in their own universe. It is not abnormal that some of the Spider-Men out of a whole Spider-Verse likes dick. Shit, some of these are women, some of these are black, some are Japanese, and
Japanese Spider-Man is based
a robot. Some aren't even human and are made up of multiple spiders that act like Peter Parker in a Spider-Man suit.
That's horrifying, and yes, that is true.
I'm stressed that
also,
that's not even...
could you pause it for a second? I need to respond. So Opal's asking, why is a checklist bad though? Okay, Opal, when I say the word checklist, especially in this connotation, it means that they don't give a fuck.
If you need
Like, just appeasement for appeasement's sake is not. That's not love. I'm just. At least in my opinion, I don't believe that's love.
if you need a checklist to work on what you're doing, then you're not doing it right. And I'm talking about in terms of creating like stories. The people who created stories that last for a long time, they didn't do that because it worked organically through their life experiences. And generally, when you are creating fiction, it is in one way or another a reflection of reality. And there's a video he did about blackwashing that I'd like to take a look at here. So, yeah. Stop saying based. It's not clever. I will never stop it. You cannot stop me.
Are you red pilled?
No, I'm Christ pilled. Japanese Spider-Man was yes, he was. Yes. Emissary from Hell, Spider-Man. For those of you who have seen Samurai Pizza Cats, the Supreme Catatonic is an obvious reference to Leopardon. So. Just don't know when people's standards for quality and representation took such a dive. Some time in the past decade. I don't know if it's the Mandela effect, but I remember a time when groups didn't settle for pandering. They didn't used to. Alright, so continuing.
A joke. Like, it sounds like hyperbole, but that's not a joke. The Spider-Verse is fucking weird, man. There's a British guy. Point is, one of...
You know what? He can pull out some pretty good clips.
Yeah, he's got some good memes. All right, continuing.
Being gay isn't exactly outlandish or crazy, and there shouldn't be a problem with it because people literally love Miles Morales. I love Miles Morales, but it's the
Yeah, if you don't like Miles Morales, like in general, you're wrong. But continuing.
same concept. Just switch race with sexuality. If you have no problem with Miles, then you shouldn't have a problem with an LGBT Spider-Man. And if you do, then you're a weirdo. And for the people that are pressed specifically towards the idea of Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man dating a guy, have you seen Spider-Man's love life? He's never with someone stably in these fucking movies. Someone dies, someone has to distance themselves, or some just don't go further than a school dance. I don't find it hard to believe that he'd find another love interest if MJ didn't work out. Also, I've heard someone say, well, he's not gay, so obviously it wouldn't make sense for him to date a guy. Well, I hate to break it to you, but bisexual people exist.
No, they don't. They don't exist. None of them exist. They're ghosts and they haunt the landscape. Unseen specters that also go to your nightclubs. No, seriously, it's fine.
Maybe I don't. It's almost like there's a whole sexuality dedicated to being tailored to dating multiple people. It's almost like you can exist in a universe where you can get every piece of the pie. Nah, it sounds like something out of a fantasy novel. It's not like there's an MCU data book that officially states Spider-Man's sexuality. We're not looking at VJEP scans.
Most of these things have either story bibles or writer's bibles that do actually state things like that. So that is technically incorrect, but we'll continue.
Oh wait, there is. But look, literally, who cares? He can hypothetically be bisexual, and you can be actually pissed about it, like a weirdo who finds it unrealistic that a nigga who fights crime in tight, colorful spandex can't just be a little gay. Like, that nigga can definitely be gay, bro. It's not impossible.
Hey, YouTube extraordinaire, large black male from YouTube.com. How do you feel about Spider-Man being potentially gay?
Nigga, like, wasn't he already gay? Like, you see what this nigga be wearing, right? Wearing skin tight fucking tights, walking around fighting other niggas. You think that shit not gay?
I don't know, man. If you think that's gay, you might be gay.
I mean, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a man dressing in spandex and platonically beating the stuffing out of a villain also dressed in spandex. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yes, let me go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and shill my merch, but let me go ahead and get something here real quick.
Is this shilling? Wait, what?
He's promoting his thing. But give me a head. I'll go ahead and shill my people. So give me a second here.
Yeah, I'm gonna shill myself real quick. Hold on.
So we are sponsored today by bathinmymilk.com for all of your milk bathing needs. Do you need chocolate milk? Do you need whole milk? Do you need skim milk? No matter what your milk, bathinmymilk.com has it. And you can have it in one of two ways. You can have it with the creepy lady next to you while you're in the tub, or at the window while you're in there. bathinmymilk.com. Please
I'm gonna
stop
shill
leaving,
my channel.
please
Sub me or die.
Please stop leaving dead animals in my doorstep.
There you go. Sub to me or die.
All right, continuing. We already did the bathe in my milk. Yes, they have strawberry milk, but yes, continuing.
Check out Down Bad Boys to see me and my friends goof off and have an alright podcast. Check it out. Or not. Back to the video, I suppose.
I'm gonna watch one of them screens.
I want to start this section off by bringing up how some people obviously want an LGBT individual to be represented correctly when it comes to including them in media.
Yes.
Yes.
And it should not
Yes.
be that difficult. You know how you do it? By just writing them like people.
Yeah, am I right, High Guardian Spice?
Like, honestly, one of the biggest problems I've seen with representation in media modernly is that they make it the central point of who they are. And yes, I get that your sexuality is part of your identity, an inherent part of your identity. But just like if there's an actual guy out there that's so patriot that he has no personality outside of the colors of the flag, if that's the way you write characters that are gay or trans or whatever, then that's a problem too. Continuing.
Not to be shoehorned in, so to speak, but I and many other people have come to learn that gay people kind of don't need a reason to exist. They just do. Now,
Everybody needs a reason to exist. Even if that's just to make other people mad in the morning. Like me.
I'm gonna make people mad next week, bro. It's gonna be great.
Joe, 80s cartoons suck because they're toy commercials. Also, Joe, buy my merchandise, you plebs. I mean, that is true. That is true.
what I mean by that? Well, Craig of the Creek is a show about a boy named Craig who goes around his local creek and has adventures with his friends as little kids do.
Craig of the Creek is legitimately a good show. Like, I haven't been able to see too much of it because I'm also super busy all the time. But from what I saw, it's a really good show. It's really fun, really inventive.
Power Rangers RPM is a show about a computer virus that takes over the world in which said Rangers have to fight off an evil robot empire to save the world. Why did I bring these two shows up specifically?
Because they're both good.
Well, they both have black main leads, and it also is an essential to the
Well, now. Don't you be sleeping on Power Rangers SPD, who also had a black lead. Don't you be doing that. Don't you be sleeping on my boy. All right? Don't you be doing that. RPM is really good, though. And he actually apparently cosplays as, like, the Red Ranger. And it's pretty good cosplay. I wonder if he got it from Aniki. Continuing.
story either, like at all. Craig and Scott, the Red Ranger, could be white, native, Hispanic, and it really wouldn't change anything. There's no story about a black struggle, racism, poverty, or any of that. They just happen to be black. And people can just happen to be gay. Like Adora from She-Ra in the newest She-Ra cartoon.
There are multiple reboots of this character. One of them can be gay. Okay, so let's count them. Yeah, the Filmation
One of them
She-Ra.
can be gay?
One of them can be gay. You have the Filmation She-Ra. You have the New 52 She-Ra, and you have this She-Ra. Maybe the mini comics, but I don't know if that counts or not. That's it. She-Ra is like one of the least used characters from that franchise for a whole myriad of different reasons. Let's continue.
Adora just happens to end up with Catra, thus making her a big gaybo. And some people are mad at this change in the character's sexuality because the original 80s cartoon showed us a straight kiss between her and Bo. The last version of this argument is kind of similar to the second one, but it's different because of the situation. Technically, a lot of Spider-Man media is a reboot of the show, but because it is Spider-Man, it's also in a connected multiverse. Obviously, there's no multiverse in She-Ra, and there's no
I don't know about that, my dude. If he's about to say Voltron, they literally show in that Voltron there's a multiverse. And for She-Ra, I think it's kind of wonky, but considering the fact that Grayskull has canonically shown to be connected to other universes, probably not the best.
connecting the Voltron 84 cast.
We'll kind of Svin, so kind of sort of not really just a difference. And the point is, it's still multiverse.
To the newest one, but the same rules still apply. In the many reboots that will be made until the end of time of an ongoing franchise, it is not unreasonable that one will include LGBT people and other marginalized groups.
I think most people who have seen this show don't care about the fact that She-Ra's gay. They care about the fact that they stuck her with the maniac here. I know cats are crazy, but that ain't no excuse. And actually, yeah, there's plenty of
space is derpy here.
there's actually plenty of Power Ranger seasons I like. So, continuing.
It is incredibly stupid to think that something like that, which is so unintegral to the backbone of She-Ra, seems to cause outrage.
Well, there's a reason why it wasn't initially, because the story Bible said something completely different, and for whatever reason they decided to change it. And it went from they're going to be like little sisters towards each other to they're going to be lovers. It's kind of makes me feel not good. Makes me feel very not good.
No good.
Not good. Not good.
No,
there aren't any guidelines that say she has to be straight. And even if there were, the relationship was written well, and that's all people.
Are you high? Are you... Incorrect question. Does brain function right? I am genuinely scared for people who talk about these relationships being written well, or that they're good relationships. And I'm not memeing. I'm scared for you.
To be worried about if it's handled well. It's not like they pulled the J.K. Rowling and went back to the 80s.
Did that horse just do anime side mouth? That is horrifying. How do you see that again? Get back here.
They pulled the J.K. Rowling.
Oh my god, it is. Swiftwind is doing the anime side mouth. That is horrifying.
Oh.
I understand Adora's facial expression here is one of pure terror, like an eldritch horror has looked into her eyes, because it is.
I mean, I haven't seen this show, but that's all I've seen heavily implied by other people that I actually know is no, this isn't not a.
Let me ask you, Sarah, since you live in what we assume is reality. Let's say let's say that you had a friend.
Okay, I have a friend.
You wound up on the opposite side of a conflict, a war-related conflict with this friend.
Okay.
This friend has such a mental breakdown that the friend doesn't just try to end the war, but wipe out reality. Specifically to get back at you. Would you ever date that person?
Fuck no.
Why?
Because that's insane.
Thank you. You heard it from the Yes, it happened. Ooh woo. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Is this is remember the end of Steven Universe is ooh woo, I killed billions of people, forgive me, Lamau?
Yeah. I very rarely agree with a certain individual, but you don't forgive the space Nazis. Continuing. What the heck? I didn't even see what got deleted. Go ahead and message me what got deleted, Opal. I missed it.
And went back to the 80s She-Ra and made changes to it. A whole new show was made with a whole new story, with new interpretations on older characters, and some just so happen to be gay. I mean, honestly, who gives a fuck? As an openly...
I don't care that both dads are gay. I just want to know if he was adopted or how. I'm just curious. I haven't watched all the show. I've seen enough, but was he adopted? Or do they have magic technology now? Oh, okay, Opal.
Bisexual man, I don't care. And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. As in the same people...
Veridis Joe says he doesn't care about bisexuals. Shipping and clipping. Ha. Moving on.
Say that being gay shouldn't be a crazy outlandish thing and shouldn't be all out there. They make a big deal about it happening in the first place, when sometimes niggas are just gay. But of course it's
they're just gay.
It's the same situation with an
Also,
SJW.
hold on a sec. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this art style. I've seen people talk about it in the chat. I don't like it.
I find it to be bland and boring. And it's the same as... I very rarely make a statement like this, but it's very similar, if not the same as High Guardian Spice.
I was gonna say that. It's why does it just remind me of that? I don't... Ugh. I don't like it.
are the ones that are crying. Yeah, because they're the ones talking about the She-Ra nightmare.
Quartering. For somebody who claimed flatly that he doesn't care about She-Ra, Quartering sure really cared about She-Ra, didn't he? It's fascinating. And I'm gonna be going over this because next weekend is when I'm dropping my Masters of the Universe Revelation video. And this doesn't matter who we're talking about, okay? It does not matter if it's the Quartering. It does not matter if it's Geeks and Gamers. It does not matter. Stop listening to people who do not care about these things. And I mean that on both ends of this argument. If you like the reboots, if you don't like the reboots, neither side of this argument should be listening to people who don't care. Why in the world would I put any stock in what Quartering feels about She-Ra when he's never cared about the original either?
Quartering doesn't give a shit about anything other than getting as many views as possible.
Yes, I wonder if he's like up into 3 digits for the what's his case, or was it Brie Larson? I wonder if he's done like 100 Brie Larson videos.
I mean, remember when you made a video on Quarter Pounder, like, what was it? I think you used a clip from him on the Ralph retort where
40 videos at that point.
He's just like, yeah, bro, it's going pretty well. It's pretty well, bro.
Just the Quartering says lesbians are canceled. No more lesbians. She-Ra's over. The age of lesbians have ended. The age of fatso is now. And if you get that reference, you got good taste. But continuing.
And not you. Yeah, She-Ra's definitely woke garbage because they have different character designs.
Yeah, it's not the character designs that's a problem.
That's a whole nother video in itself if you want to watch it.
And your video was bad, and that's why I tore it apart, because you know nothing about the 80s and you know nothing about the industry at the time. I doubt you.
Yeah, that video. I mean, here's the thing. Like, how do I put this? I mean, concerning that video, I mean, I like myself, you know, some character design. You know, some of you know that. There can be some great stuff. It's just this guy made that video and it just fell apart very quickly.
Yes. Continue.
It fell apart very quickly.
Man, I don't know. Just like Nick Fury in the MCU happens to be black, Flash so happens to be not white and buff, and an actual bully, and Glimmer just so happens to have a different...
Were the other versions not bullies? Pretty sure they were. They were just bullies by the standards of the time. Look, I know in like modern parlance and modern like kid back and forth, the bullies are more the type that egg things on and snicker in the background and do damage like on social media. But how he was portrayed in older media is how bullies used to operate. Like, they used to be a lot more straightforward. They used to be a lot more physically aggressive out in the open. So it's really weird. This is when he kind of shows his age on things. And I do too, because I'm an old man and that's what I do. But, oh no.
Body type that I think is really cute. Different versions of characters so happen to exist. And some of them just so happen to have a different sexuality. Is that so hard to grasp?
No, the hard to grasp part is that usually they're written very poorly, and then when people criticize that, other people say, well, you don't like the character because they're gay. And in some cases, that might very well be true, and it is true in some cases, because I've seen the people maul about it, but in a lot of cases, just know your character's just written bad, and trying to hide behind, you don't like them because they're gay, is dishonest.
It's something that's inconceivable, something unbelievably absurd that cannot coexist in the unbelievably absurd media you consume. Is it more easy to believe in magic than gay people? Where I'm getting at exactly is I think it's pretty weird for people to have a problem with stuff like this. I get friends and family talking to me sometimes about just how abnormal it is for these marginalized groups to appear in media as if they haven't existed for as long as media has existed.
Thank you, Opal, even though you shouldn't be spending money, but gender protesters, woke cultural equal council. Yes. Yes. True.
The title of this video is blankly just diversity isn't political.
Yeah, but you haven't explained how it's not political. Like, if you're making the claim it isn't political, you have to extrapolate why and explain, elucidate why.
But I went for a more linear approach when justifying why new versions of characters can be more diverse. But also, people seem to have a problem with just diversity in general. In this video by The Roundtable, I was featured and I talk about how many people see Steven Universe and shows like it as virtue signaling propaganda or something along the lines of that, and constantly hear stuff that kind of makes my brain go dummy. I mean, you hear it all the time from people trying their best to demonize modern animation for featuring female leads or like Thai leads, you know, people who are just as important, and it will make no difference to include narratively in some cases. cases, but in the real world do so much. And people will ask for sources or studies or comments or any type of specific evidence that people actually have a problem with this shit. But no matter how much I show, people will still brush it off and call the side I support crybabies. And I hate niggas like that. Y'all mad annoying. My friend What the Sheck made a really good video on why exactly representation of all kinds matters, and he explains how seeing a character just like you on screen makes you feel like you belong where you are.
Okay, so here's my hot take, and it's really gonna upset people.
What?
I think that if you need, and I want to be clear, I have no problem with diversity. I'd include it in my works if I worked on it, because again, fiction is a reflection of reality. That's why people write. When people write well, they write good characters that are diverse, because that's a reflection of their life, reflection of their experiences. But
I'm just gonna. Oh, sorry.
if you need to see someone on screen that's like you, and I don't just mean in like race or whatnot, if you need to connect, like that character is just like me, you've got bigger problems in your life than what fiction you consume, and I genuinely hope you get help. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I haven't like seen anywhere in this video so far of why diversity isn't political.
I haven't either.
I'm like, where's the argument here?
Waiting for
Like all I'm seeing is just a lot of very declarative statements.
which is fine in and of
And
itself, but he hasn't encroached the political aspect of it, and it can be. The diversity aspect can be political, because anything can be political. It's so goofy.
And in this video, he explains just why shit like that is necessary for younger audiences. There are times where I was at church with all the white kids in my city, and I just sat there thinking about how maybe my hair texture should be straighter, or why hasn't my hair been longer, or why wasn't I white? Or in grade school, surrounded by predominantly black kids.
Opal wants to get on and explain, so I suppose I'll do her the kindness of dragging her into the call.
Okay.
Goofy child. Of course, it's going to take 30 seconds for her to realize it.
I mean, basically what Fearless Wolf is saying. Bro, I forgot he was claiming it isn't political. I just stopped listening, or it sounds like he's rambling. Like, it just kind of feels like a ramble. That's what this video feels like. It's just more of a ramble.
Which is fine. Just don't title it like it the way it is.
I don't...
People be crazy. There's the child.
All
right, child, elucidate.
Hello.
Hello?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was more referring to the chat, but I wanted to explain because of Leo's hot take of what he's trying to say is that, well, specifically, I think that the most, if not all, of the examples that he was talking about were referencing like kids shows or shows that are appropriate for kids to watch. And like he gave his example, when you show these sort of marginalized groups to people like I'm too loud.
How? On the same. Here, let me go ahead and just on my end lower your volume. There you go.
I've got a cute voice. Thank you. Fuck. It's basically, it's trying to, because kids are very impressionable and can only really think with what they have in common with people. And so, like, lots of the time, I'll just use my experiences. Like, I'm white, and through a lot of my life I've lived in white neighborhoods, and most of my like classmates were white, and black people and Mexican people, just other races, were not very common. And the other times where it was common, I would see kids get bullied just for certain things, like their hair texture, or they would just parrot things that like their racist parents would say. It was awful. And so when kids have these cartoons, they can see these characters and they can relate to them, and they can see that you know, these people aren't as different as they are. And when we're talking about non-children media, well, diversity is less, um, at least most of the time. The benefits of diversity, they make the people who are marginalized feel good seeing their self be represented, but it's also for the people who aren't those marginalized groups, because even though it's not impossible to go outside and see like a black person or something. It's a lot rarer to see them in prominent roles in media, except for like very recently. Um, and so when you're seeing these characters, LGBT, people of color, all of these people in these roles, it makes it so the white audience basically is more accustomed to it, because the more they see it, the more they're used to it, and the less that they'll probably complain about it.
Okay, but that very little touched on why they need to have somebody like them on screen, why they feel they would need, like, and I don't mean like just general representation. I get that. I understand it. But saying, well, they need to have these so they can recognize someone like them on screen, and that just seems so myopic. It seems so myopic, because the entire point of fiction is to be kind of absurd and to extrapolate reality into that, to the point to where you have people who identify with literal robots. Like Busy Robot Hands here has Transformers they identify with, and these are literal robot people. They are not of a specific gender, 9 times out of 10. It's I just think it's a lack of imagination, and I think there's probably something deeper seated there, especially in your case, unfortunately, and we're definitely not going to go on that in stream here, but I think there's a problem with making that argument. As far as getting white people accustomed to it, they should be to begin with, because that's how reality operates.
Most of the time, I mean, like, that's how it should go, but that's not necessarily what it is.
Okay, but my point is what I said it was. The point is, if you need that, there's probably deeper seated issues that need to be addressed. That's my point. And now people can somehow barely hear me. I don't know how. I have not changed my audio setting.
I'm sorry if I messed up your audio or something.
You did not mess up my audio. But I think this is getting a little long in the tooth.
I don't know what that means.
That
but
means we're droning on this specific aspect here, and people are.
I nearly fell asleep.
Yeah,
honestly,
so we're gonna go ahead and continue. If you want to head and hop out, Opal, we'll talk later.
Okay, bye.
Me, I wasn't actually black, or I was white on the inside. Never told you guys, but I got the shit bullied out of me in grade school. Now,
bully them back.
I didn't even buy yet, nigga. I was just lame. But then through the lens of animation, I connected with characters that made me feel comfortable in my own skin. Characters who all had their own stories that reflected where they came from. And that showed me just how much of a person I was compared to the next one. I was just as valid. And sorry, not sorry, but this for the most part is a minority-centered problem in the first place. So, I'm dearly sorry that I can't ever not be brought to the conclusion that the niggas that think this got the orbit confusion on them. I mean, at times I kinda understand and give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, yeah, a lot of representation is appearing in media at a faster rate than normal, and that can be a bit difficult to adjust to maybe, but at the same time,
well, I don't even think it's happening at a faster pace than normal. I think people are just pointing it out, because media has been diverse for a while now. It's just not been diverse in very specific ways. You alive over there, Sarah? Did I lose you? Are you dead?
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of
checked out.
The rambling here from him is like it's checking me out right now.
I'm still waiting for the political aspect.
That's literally what I'm waiting for. I'm like, bro, where's the art?
Hold on here. Got a couple things. Pool guy, thank you for the $5. All this representation is fine. What about the poor straight white man? Does he still have a place, or are we destined to be forgotten? No one's going to forget you, Devil Dog. I promise that. Gen X Toys Jody, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, just cuz. All right. Children are jerks. Yes, they are. I know. I have some. Continuing.
I think about how difficult it is for people to live in a world where their group isn't showcased overtly, or you have to have a show pave its way in order to get its representation. It shouldn't have been this way in the first place. People cry going on saying, why do these people deserve a month? You shouldn't be celebrating being gay, it's nothing. Well, my hypothetically ignorant friend, you get a month celebrating you when your way of existing has been suppressed and refused acknowledgement for centuries. This is
Yeah, I think generally anybody complaining about Pride, I just don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. Oh, I don't like this Pride parade. Then don't go to it. Oh, for the love of Pete, my audio is still somehow low. What the heck? There. Hopefully that will fix my magical audio problems.
I mean, it might be through you might have like your audio low in OBS if you're using that.
I just raised it in OBS, and hopefully now I don't hear that it's too loud, but we'll continue.
Yeah, that should help it.
But no, I get that some aspects of diversity haven't been able to be included due to standards and practices at the time, or moral outrage, or whatever have you. Even when 80s cartoons were around, people were losing their absolute minds over it in the dumbest of possible ways. So for all of you people that are surprised when your cartoons get backlash, just be aware it's nothing new. The writer, specifically Peter Lawrence for Thundercats, constantly got mail from people demanding that he stop writing Mum-Ra because Mum-Ra is evil and he is a Satanist if he does so. And he's just like, I just like writing characters. Why are you doing this? Because people are dumb and they get outraged about dumb things. If half these parents that were really upset about that stuff spent all that outrage and just raising their doggone kids, they wouldn't have to write letters. Hot take. I'm dunking on people. I'm dunking on people old as my mom. I'm real brave, aren't I? Moving on.
just all of a sudden gay. Gays have been around forever.
Prove it! Gays don't exist! Just like the buys, they haunt things as specters. I did that bit already.
Them accurate representation and to pretend as if the stars have to align on a solar eclipse for them to be in a media, as if some grandiose thing has to happen for.
Can you imagine if that's actually how we did things? We can only have gay things on the solar eclipse while the planets are in alignment and the stars. That would be the... Can you imagine how much of a deal people would make that?
Oh man, oh man.
Liberace would have ascend to the highest pyramid on that day. All right, continue.
I'm gonna just be gay, as if it has to be a crazy ass struggle for a marginalized group of people to be showcased. I'm tired of it, and so are many other people. That's why this type of representation in the media matters, and that's why I get so miffed when people got a problem with it.
How is it not political?
How is it not political? What the?
Because it can be.
What I mean is, you changed my life.
That's all it is, Miles.
Okay, I guess that's the end of the
Did
video.
you just jump into fire
the
for
end of the
me?
video.
What?
Yeah, we're gonna
No!
go ahead and end that there because we got more to do. But like, not once did he address the political aspect. What a weird name for a video that doesn't actually address the topic. So I'll go ahead and cut my short on this one. It can be political because any aspect of art can be political, and a lot of it is one way or another. Even saying my stuff isn't political is a political take.
I'm just kind of. I mean, I also can't help but like say it's like. I mean, apparently, like, was it like half the characters he's like showing in this video are written like trash?
Yeah, but you know, people are.
I mean, we have like, I mean, we have some trash representation, bro.
Let's see.
Just saying.
Who wants to watch hate watching and outrage culture? That's one of his videos.
Oh no.
Actually, no. Somebody asked me about the anti-racist one, so we'll do that one first. Copy link address.
Oh no.
Posting it here.
Ironic.
Ironic.
The video wasn't political. Headbanger.
Hey guys, as you nigga butt sex 42 here, and did you guys in Steven Universe public service announcement just got released?
Phoenix Heart says, can they stop showing abusive LGBT relationships as the ideal? That would probably be nice for them.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice. 69 viewers.
Nice. Anyways.
And it's so cringe. Absolute woke force garbage. They're feeding kids this propaganda about acceptance and equality like they've been for...
Habusa, I know you came in late. The entire video title was Diversity Isn't Political, and not once did he actually address that. He didn't actually address any political aspect of it. or lack thereof. He just went on about why characters can be changed in sexuality and why there's diversity. He didn't address the political aspect of it. It's I don't know.
Decades. In any case, allow me to cross my arms and tell you just how much I hate it. Do you think that was like too on the nose, or like I went too crazy, or?
We need more dog on these videos. Can we get like a D in the chat for dog? Because I like the dog.
You don't care. Oh, it's another one of
The
those
D.
quickies no one ever asked me for, but I make anyways. Stay tuned for a bunch of other stuff right now, but we're gonna talk about my new favorite thing ever, PSAs, and why some people have a problem with certain ones when they shouldn't. So, yeah. So PSAs, public service announcements. These were popularized in the 80s amongst children's content because parents had a problem with kids watching that good old brain-rotten television without learning anything
No,
from
not
it and
He-Man.
like-
No.
Fun fact, Sarah here was terrified of the He-Man PSAs when she was younger because she did not understand fourth wall breaks and it freaked her out.
I just see the He-Man and I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Blinky Arias, thank you for the super chat. Representation is fine when it isn't overthought and feels natural. Having rep for the sake of rep feels forced. I don't know. Hot take, I guess. Steaming hot take. But it's fine. That's what we do here. Hold on. Let me back up here because I think he said something real goofy.
So, yeah. So PSAs, public service announcements. These were popularized in the 80s amongst children's content because parents had a problem with kids watching that good old brain-rotten television without learning anything from it and not, like, just teaching their kids themselves like a parent would.
That was actually more of an issue in the 90s, specifically with a specific, I can't remember the name of it, an act put forth in Congress, which was put into effect in 1996, that said that animation, cartoon, children's entertainment had to have a certain percentage of educational data. The reason why a lot of cartoons in the 80s had moral segments was, in the case of Filmations, because Lou Scheimer cared about kids and he cared about how they lived and what they dealt with. The same thing with Thundercats, who had an actual child psychologist look over the scripts. It wasn't because parents were outraged because they got outraged anyways. They're not raising their kid thing. That's a valid point, but it's not specific to the 80s, so you're really off on that. Like, I don't know where you get this information from because you don't get it from reality.
Before the idea of edutainment, media kind of just existed, and
Before edutainment existed before the 80s. Do you not know what Sesame Street is?
Yeah, even the What?
I mean, by the way, this intro for the G.I. Joe movie is absolutely great.
and old
yeah,
niggas
look at that
complained
ass.
about it like they do with everything. And in order to stop the influx of calls that the networks were getting, they implemented PSAs at the end of each episode.
No, because
What?
these PSAs...
What?
These PSAs were ready to go when the shows first aired. It wasn't a response to them. Not in the 80s. Like, what are you talking about?
And these were actually a great way for kids to learn things when a parent or guardian couldn't word it as eloquently or they just didn't care. What I'm saying is they broke down these heavy topics for kids to understand and digest easily. And you know what these were about. Staying away from drugs, learning about sexual assault and how to not talk to strangers,
Correct.
not being a bully. Oh wait, who's that kid? Huh, he looks kind of familiar. Overall, just doing what's seen as the right thing. And these weren't really imaginative. They were kind of straightforward and mostly not nuanced.
Most of the G.I. Joe ones aged really well in what they recommend. And the Thundercat ones, of course, were all in the episode. They didn't do segments. And He-Man flatly did a segment like, hey, people shouldn't be touching you. If they do, don't keep it a secret. Go talk about it.
That's no good.
That's no good. Don't hide the dryer, kids.
At all. But they didn't need to be at the time, and that's no insult to them.
The diverse character of Spirit. He's awesome from G.I. Joe.
It just started as a way to get parents from thinking these cartoons were only created to sell toys. But the point is, while they were shoehorned,
I'm going to go back to that.
Oh, boy.
parents from thinking these cartoons were only created to sell toys.
Only created to sell toys. That is so factually incorrect. Do you think...
Well, hold on. I think he said, like, parents think.
Yes. No, hold on. Let me back it up.
Yeah, let's back it up just a little bit more.
But
Okay,
they
there
didn't
we
need
go.
to be at the time, and that's no insult to them. It just started as a way to get parents from thinking these cartoons were only created to sell toys.
Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I heard that incorrectly. My bad.
They weren't just made to sell toys for two reasons. Number one, a lot of the cartoons in the 80s didn't have a toy line. And secondly, do you really think the writing team and the animators said, we've got to sell this toy? No. It's just like Lou Scheimer said. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and play the audio. Let me go ahead and find it. I'm going to go find it. I'm going to find it right now. And you guys will be able to hear it when I play it.
Selling toys. They just cared about selling toys. I didn't give a shit about selling toys. They wanted to sell toys. I wanted to develop pictures for kids. It ain't the same thing. We were very happy, and I had control. And when I say control, the ability not to do something that I felt was wrong for kids.
A toy company always says, we consider this a 30-minute toy commercial. And I would say right back to their face, well, I don't consider it a 30-minute toy commercial. I consider it a 30-minute story that I'm telling. Guys who are toy company executives suddenly believe they're in show business when they get a show.
Those who say that somehow He-Man was unprecedented in its tie to a sponsor or a merchandise person or a corporation are completely boneheaded when it comes to the history of television.
They did.
Correct. These writers, they didn't care about the toys. They might own one or two because they might think they're cool, but they didn't care. They didn't care because these people put these things out to make a good story. And if you think for a moment that it doesn't take creativity to be an animator on these things or to be a writer for these things, especially when in the cases of things like, I don't know, Transformers, Bob Budiansky had to create the entire mythos. Tell me they're not creative. Tell me they're not creator driven, and I will laugh in your face and call you a liar.
But the point is, while they were shoehorned in for the most part, they still talk.
You know what? Let me go ahead and address that. Anytime you see one of these clowns raging about merchandise cartoons that were made to sell toys, ask them how they feel about Vivian Medrano. Because, hate to tell you this, guys, those pieces of plastic help pay for these cartoons and the people working on them and the creative people who made them happen. So if your value is that's not good or that's wrong, and you support Vivian, who does the same with her merch, you're inconsistent and you should be laughed at. He literally did. He literally said to get it off the parents' mind of the show being made just to sell toys. So yeah, he did.
Kids' moral values, and that's what's most important. And also, that used to be what the standard was. See, now thanks to the entertainment we have today and upwards of a few decades ago, lessons were written right into the episodes with a message in mind. Of course, opposed to a little to no relation, loosely tied up PSA at the end. But I don't know if you've noticed, but PSAs...
It varied on the show. Dimos, thank you for a super chat. I prefer shows that didn't push obvious morals, which is why I'm not terribly into Motu 80's incarnation, though I deeply respect what Blue Timer did. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
As of late, for like quite a few years, have been a dying breed. People more often than not will make fun of PSAs because you kind of can't take these seriously anymore, but how they've been memed to all living hell.
Well, that and those PSAs were made for children, and you're not a child. Like, I don't see any of these people like taking shots at Sesame Street, but they'll take shots at PSAs is because they're very picky in what they do. It's goofy.
Thanks to a certain Cartoon Network, PSAs and cartoons have seemed to be coming back. More specifically now, Steven Universe specifically has imaginative, high-effort, and well-written PSAs on nuanced topics needed to be taught to kids in an easily explainable manner. Say whatever regurgitated opinion you want about the show, but these PSAs are high quality, and they deserve to be talked about as such. They've ranged from talking about how you shouldn't base your life on what you see on
Lobo says, just for clarification, I think his mindset, wrong or not, is that cartoons were meant to sell toys. To my knowledge, Viv sells merch to make cartoons, which I think is different. They go hand in hand. It's not really different. It's a distinction without a real difference. Because, again, the toys that were sold via these shows is what was made to make the shows.
social media, how you should know it's not your place to talk about another person's body type, or just how you're special in your own way just the way you are. And these are separately made from the show in a completely different style. And like I said, written really well with the conversation in mind rather than just a character telling you, this bad, this good, don't go to hell.
Drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
That PSA, even as a kid, I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's just...
It's not because I think it's funny, because it's funny. It's just directive.
Wait, what is this? I've seen this in YouTube Poops a lot.
Yeah, this is from the Mario Brothers Super Show.
Okay, yeah, I need to...
Opal, the motive...
I remember watching the...
Hold on. Opal, the motive is the same. No, Kecker, I think you need to go back and listen, because Sarah thought that at first too, and before we rewinded and listened to it again. All right, so
Oh, Kecker. Oh, yeah, no, that's what I thought that too, but no, like, I had him replay it. I heard it incorrectly, but yeah, no, I was wrong.
do the Mario.
Yeah, that's real. But the problem is that they also talk about very political propaganda heavy topics like racism, inclusivity, acceptance, and telling the whole story when it comes to American US history.
With the exception of the American U.S. history, all those other things have been covered by so many other cartoons. I do think it's goofy. People get upset about the existence of the PSAs that they've done for Steven Universe. I haven't seen all of them. I can't attest to whether or not they're good. I think the anti-racism one was kind of bizarre in how it was written, and not even like in the fun, bizarre way like some of the G.I. Joe PSAs are, but like the way that they had the kids taunt each other was just really awkward. Continuing.
If you can tell by my sarcastic tone, I think it's bullshit every time someone comes out with their 15-minute rant about Steven Universe and how it's brainwashing kids or how they just completely missed the point of all.
Steven Universe is brainwashing kids. It's brainwashing kids into liking musicals, and that's just not acceptable.
These PSAs. You'd be surprised at how often
brainwashing kids into forgive the forgive the people who killed billions, Lamau, you know.
Hey, Rodimus Prime, I'm glad you could join us. Sorry I missed your live stream. I was going on concurrently.
Definitely say that, at least.
It's not pointing any fingers.
You know, looking at how this guy edits, which is very good, by the way, and all the clips he uses, how does this dude, like, not get, like, taken out back and beaten by the copyright thugs? What the heck, man? How do you get away with this? Because I don't. I use a 2-second clip from the new Voltron. Like, we're coming for your booty.
Well, a lot of, like, reviewers can get away with it by slightly, like, altering the footage.
Well, I am a monkey with a supercomputer, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't like. Here's the thing: like, I know I could like modify all of the footage that I use for the Hell of a Boss videos. I just don't care to.
Let's see. The Steven Universe PSAs are hard to watch because the characters are angry and preachy. If I wanted that, I walk down the street in Portland. I don't know Portland, but I'll take your word for it. Let's see here.
And every one of these is posted, it's seen as very controversial. And you probably be thinking, why? They're just teaching kids moral values.
Keckers forgive the fascists because they feel bad. Thank you.
It's more than just like fascists, man. It's like super like fucking super galactic fascists, like
super ultra galactic. Avatar Material, thank you for the super chat. Wanted to pop in and say hello, take my money. Also, I passed internship and will finally become an ESE teacher. Congratulations. Type I don't know. Congratulations to Avatar in the chat. Also, what's wrong with musicals? Nothing's actually wrong with them. I'm just having a goof. I watched Evita once, and it was a good film, but I keep forgetting to watch it again. I also really like the Phantom of the Opera movie. Probably just outed myself there. But anyways. Oh, Toy kicked the crap out of my channel for a 4-second clip on route. Dude, I feel you. Anytime I try to use anything for Gao like, Sunrise is like, what are you doing, boy? We're going to take you to the woodshed.
I mean, Levon, we're not going that route.
If you're white, then you're a racist bigot. No, and I don't think the PSA said that.
We're not going that route, and it didn't go that route.
Anyways, continuing.
As they've been for decades. What's so different about it now? Well, one Twitter user on a viral tweet said it's kind of crazy to them how the cartoons they grew up with told them to not care about race.
What?
What?
Kind of crazy the cartoons they grew up with told not to care about. What cartoons did you grow up with? What the heck? The heck? What cartoons did this guy... Did this guy grow up with cartoons? Wait a minute. Does Thomas the Tank Engine talk about racism? Because if he doesn't, then he might be a Thomas the Tank Engine fan. I don't know. I never watched it.
Thomas the Tank Engine, bro.
You don't like those electric-powered trains.
You see... you see it, like... In Thomas the Tank Engine, like, you need to understand that the coal carts are, like, the most discriminated minority in that show. Okay? Have you seen the things that happen to all of the coal carts, dude?
I can't
like,
tell
they
if
get...
you're joking or not.
What?
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Shut up.
All right.
Okay, I'm actually being somewhat serious. The coal carts get fucking destroyed in that show.
Blinking Iris, $2 super chat. Quick, someone draw Lio dressed as a phantom. Why? All right, thank you for the super chat. Continuing.
And the ones kids watch nowadays tell them to care about race?
Well, you should care about people. And if somebody's being dicked with because of their race, Violence. Anyways.
Just how wonky that is. Now, statements like this and opinions like these bug me a lot because people tend to pretend like stuff like this hasn't existed for decades. You know, the PSA stuff. The person says like a lot of people do that when they grew up, nothing like this was on TV. And here specifically, oddly enough, they say cartoons told them not to care about race. Now, I'm gonna need y'all to point me to a cartoon and tell me which one told y'all not to care about race. Which one? Matter of fact, which one told you not to care about controversial subjects?
I mean, maybe South Park. But,
South Park?
South Park's a weird show, but at the same time, it's also not a kid's show, so he's got a point on this one.
General. Was it the Proud Family that dealt with sexism? Or how about Brace Face?
Oh, Proud Family was really good. It was really good. I love Grandma.
That talked about drinking and the dangers that come from it. Or maybe, I don't know, Static Shock, which had an episode dedicated to racism.
Static Shock's fantastic, and I love the fact that somebody edited the clip from Static Shock, because the voice actor for that's the same guy who did, or for the Static Shock's sidekick, is the same voice actor for Max from the Goofy movies. And they edited it together to where Max is yelling at Goofy saying, you know, I hate that you're racist, Dad. It's just, I love that edit. It's you and your stupid racism.
My point is, a lot of these older cartoons dealt with serious and similar topics, and this is nothing new. The only thing that is new is that we're starting to talk about these subjects in a nuanced way more and more. I'm always confused when people say stuff like this, like we've never had this type of shit in our entertainment, as if it hasn't just been there since the creation of PSAs. People usually have a problem with these ones specifically because of the messages they usually don't understand, such as with this one. See, the setup with these current Steven Universe PSAs is actually from a pretty meta approach. In Universe, the characters are filming a typical PSA that usually follows how the cheesy in-your-face ones always do. And then after going over the information and how it's portrayed, they go, huh, this isn't right. Let's talk to kids and explain to them what the problem actually is, rather than a simplified version that misses the point of the conversation completely.
Well, my question here is, like, do kids watch the PSAs? And if they do, like, are they extrapolating this information, or is it just something adults are looking at this point? That's my curious question about this.
Yeah, I'm kind of... Like, I'm not saying, like, Joe's wrong here. I'm just kind of like... Well, I mean, I honestly need to see the PSAs for myself. I mean... I don't know how they're written. I mean, I'm seeing some people in the chat saying that that they're not very well written.
Yeah,
they're not very clever.
I saw Rodimus say that they're very preachy, and I think I've only seen like one or two, and I didn't pay that much attention. I was just curious why people were outraged, and you know, some of the people who are outraged are the ones who are always outraged. It could have been a PSA about, hey, don't drown your cat, and they get mad about it. So maybe it merits yet another look, and we can... No, we'll probably do that here shortly. We'll probably just look over the PSAs ourselves. But let's go ahead and finish this up.
Like this one, the most recent one that everybody's talking about now. It starts off with Amethyst and some kids talking about equality, showing that colors don't matter and you shouldn't see color, and bringing up the age-old, well, if you're black, white, or purple, I don't care saying. And then breaking from the original script of the in-universe PSA to explain how adding this imaginary color actually detracts from the real message that kids should be learning. Because...
we'll take a look at that shortly, but isn't the reason why you use colors in specific cases like that due to coding? And if it detracts, then you just kind of kill the idea of using non-human characters, coding them, and using them to talk about racism. So there goes Garnet. There goes
like
Amethyst.
you know, like the one old, like, what was it, meme of like Patrick's mind like just sputtering.
My mind is an enigma.
Like my mind, like my brain is like having like sparks flying out of it right now. I'm so confused.
Well, again,
I'm so confused.
Again, who knows? I have to go look at this thing specifically. That's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah, I just have questions.
From the real issues black people in America face every day. I think it's a very important lesson that kids should know. You know, along with not talking to strangers and treating everyone the way you want to be treated.
And not talking to strangers one is something that kids have yet to master somehow. Like years ago, I was delivering to an elementary school, and whenever I'd pull up in the milk truck, of course, the kids on the playground would come run towards the gate, and they'd start yelling and, you know, hollering and waving. And I just went up to them one day. I'm like, "Hi, do you know who I am?" "No." "Do you know my name?" "No." "Then what am I?" "A stranger, and what should you not do?" And all those kids like immediately stopped talking and like awkwardly walked away. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Not because I wanted to ruin a kid's day, but because it needs to be stressed to these kids, especially on the internet. Like, don't put yourself out to strangers, man. They're deranged people out there. It's not right.
and remembering just to say no. You know, all the things you're supposed to know when you're older. I don't think there's a problem with kids learning to be anti-racist. If you think so, there might be a bit of a problem with you just saying, not calling the anti-black per se, but if you somehow have a problem with kids learning about racism and not like sexual assault and drugs, then I don't know what other conclusion you want me to come up with. You might be saying, even after all of what I said, that no one's actually mad about this and I'm making a nothing into a something. But
oh no, people have been mad. I was in the Clownfish TV server when these things happened, and man, people got pissed. For the goofiest
Oh
of
yeah,
reasons.
that was a fun time, wasn't it?
Like, it would be more relevant to use one of the Kiki or Connie than with the Jim. I mean, you could also get more of Connie's mom. Well, most danger to kids doesn't come from strangers. That is true. It primarily comes from home. So the best lesson for kids: be careful in general. Also true. Very true.
would you listen to this nigga?
Look, man, all I know is Mrs. Mahesh Warren is thick as a milkshake, and I'm okay with that.
Yes, we are all supposed to see each other as people of different colors whose experiences are completely non-understandable. Instead, I have to listen and believe because, you see, I see color. So
Oh my God, shut up, you little man.
I'm anti-racist, which means I have to listen and believe whatever you say in order to destroy the systems of power. Yeah, you wonder why people feel like they're under assault and indoctrinating kids into overtly racist garbage.
That's
What?
Ben,
Why?
Ben,
Is your yarmulke on too tight, buddy?
Ben,
Holy
Ben
crap,
needs
his
some,
eyebrows are perfectly straight. Like, does he tailor those?
dude. Ben needs some fucking weed, like, to slow himself down. Holy shit. I
with this
Let's continue.
is about. How is explaining to kids how not to be racist exactly? You
And for the record, before anybody gets stupid, like, I don't care for political pundits, period. At all.
watched this cartoon public service announcement about why a term is inherently flawed and got that your rights and freedoms are going to be taken away from it. Who the fuck said anything about you not being able to assess whether someone is wrong
Show me where the PSA touched you.
because of their race? Who's under assault? Who's under attack, nigga? They just said to understand that their experiences are different like you would with any.
There were like 3 or 4 different G.I. Joe PSAs about how it's wrong to be a dick to people based on like their gender or their sex or their like skin color. Like, if I were to ask people, who is Storm Shadow's nemesis? 9 times out of 10 they'll say Snake Eyes. But in the original cartoon, it was Spirit. It was the indigenous Native American that was throwing down against the ninja. And these are the people telling you, factually, hey, don't hate people because of their race, man. That ain't right. And that didn't get backlash, but this is? That's weird.
P word.
Oh, don't start. But no, we're going to, of course, take a look at the PSAs themselves, because I'm curious about what Rodimus said, because he usually doesn't say things that are incorrect, so I'd like to see what that's about.
Other person. This is what I was talking about when I said missed the point. If anything, fuck the positions of power. I don't give a shit about them old, decrepit ass dying niggas. Some people hear this and they
Well, in fairness, they don't care about us either.
Yeah, they don't.
Looking at you, Mitch McConnell.
completely miss the point. If the thought of shaping kids out of inherently flawed ideologies makes you quake in your boots.
Hold on, real quick. Captain Boy said, "Oh dear God, I just found out that a close friend of mine actually started listening legitimately to Ben Shapiro. Just no surprising finding out how crazy he got, and we're trying to deprogram him." Oh man.
You are the problem.
I've had to deprogram a friend from like watching Charlie Cuck. And I'm like, oh no, let me wind you down the path here, buddy.
My argument is always, these people don't care about you. They're politicians and they're political pundits. They've never cared about anybody. Why listen to them? I will say the idea of being colorblind is a bad lesson to teach. It's better to teach someone to understand the differences rather than ignoring them. Yeah, because unfortunately, as much as people might say that we should be colorblind, and to a point I can understand why, this doesn't make things go away, and it doesn't change dickheads from being dickheads.
Same time, political nonsensical dribble aside, let's be honest. This always is just the more complicated version of I hate modern cartoons. People every day
No, I don't think it is.
on Twitter, my comments, or just anywhere express how much they hate modern animation and proceed to generalize it in the worst possible way and find anything to talk about when it comes to the subject. And
I mean, a lot of them do fucking suck.
They do, but a lot of a lot of the people who complain about it don't even watch cartoons in general. I remember years ago I was in a Facebook group for 80s cartoons, and one dude's like, "Oh, the cartoon villains now suck." I'm like, "Okay, which cartoons?" Well, I don't watch any of them. How would you know then?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I mean, come on, bro. I mean, you gotta Last Airbender, bro. Come
Kala
on.
says, if you've ever read Spirit's title card that came with the action figure, well, let's just say it didn't age well. I have not, because I paid like $50 for my Spirit. He didn't come with his file card, and he's currently sitting in the G.I. Joe base. And I'm actually one of those people who never really read the file cards. G.I. Joe's not the biggest 80s property I'm into.
Let's see here. Huboon Stompa. You mean Charlie the Incredible Shrinking Face Kirk? Yes. Yes, that cuck. There's a meme where people like shrink his face constantly, and it's really funny.
Okay.
Because he has a small face.
Continuing.
It becomes blatantly obvious that they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, you don't know anything about older animation either, which is why I've caught you slipping multiple times. Maybe you should educate yourself as well, Chief.
Whether it be Boom,
Yeah, I
modern
agree
cartoons
with
look horrible.
I agree with Minta. I prefer the 2000s, bro. I mean, come on, we got Chowder out of that shit.
You know, I didn't actually like Chowder.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing a lot of videos recently of people like looking back at the show, and I'm like, yes.
Well, I just didn't like Chowder because I don't like lecherous characters, and I don't care for Mongol. Despite the jokes I made, and you take the moon, and you take the moon.
You take the moon.
I'm going to commit a hate crime against the Italians, Chowder. Like, other than that, like, Greenblatt's a good guy at what he does. The show's beautifully animated. I'm not going to detract from that, but I just don't like Mongol.
Didn't you say you like Flapjack though?
I love Flapjack.
I'm like, isn't like Flapjack basically? Okay, I'm not gonna say it's the same as Chowder, but like
it's not. The main guy in there, the main guy in there, other than of course the titular Flapjack, Captain Knuckles. He's not a lecher. He's just a dirtbag, and the entire point of him is that he's a dirtbag. Like, he's nothing to actually look up to. Real quick, Kicker's Boy says 90% of everything is crap. Yes, Sturgeon's Law. Most modern cartoons suck. Most 80s cartoons suck. It's just that the good ones stick with us and the crap fades to the background. It's not completely incorrect. I heard people don't like Greenblatt. I don't know how anyone could not like his stuff. I like some of his stuff. I just think that sometimes he is put on the wrong projects. That's why I don't like the new Jellystone. Harvey Beaks was really good from what little bit I got to see.
Yeah, same Mint. I was kind of repulsed. I was repulsed a bit by Flapjack. It was very like
that's why I loved it.
It was one of the strangest shows I've ever seen. And that's why a lot of people like I talk to, like either they really like it for that reason or they hate it.
Daimo Z says, to be honest, modern cartoons have benefited from utilizing the many leaps and strides animation technology has had rather than copy and paste designs because it's easier to draw for lazy storyboarders. Possibly. Let's see here. Question for LioConvoy reviews and Missy Drip randomly. Have you seen the promo for Learning with Pippi? I am so not interested. I am tired of edgelord garbage, and I'm not interested in it. Everyone needs to watch Brave Star. It's superior. Brave Star is a fantastic show. All right, continuing.
Boom, modern cartoons encourage forced diversity. Or boom, they're pushing these radical views on little kids at an early age. As if they haven't been doing that with other serious subjects. And honestly, people are just too afraid of being uncomfortable. I mean, one of things changing, seeing as they can be nostalgic for the entertainment they grew up with, and using that as an escape when it comes to getting away from the ever-changing existence that we have. It's escapism. And two, they're afraid of having to actually think about issues that don't affect them personally. You know, issues that they can pretend just don't exist when using escapism to, well, escape. But the problem is that for a long while, because of the lack of inclusivity, what's escapism for?
Talking about a lack of inclusivity while you're using one of the most diverse cartoons of the 80s is so doggone goofy.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, isn't G.I. Joe kind of inclusive?
Very.
You know?
It is absurdly inclusive. You'll be hard pressed to find like a race or a nationality that is not in G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
Correct. I mean, how could you not like Roadblock? I mean, come on. That dude big. Got a couple copies of Brave Star at the show and enjoyed pushing them on to people. Brave Star is fantastic, like unapologetically.
Them isn't really for others. If you look into media to get away from the real world and still see that even in fiction you're not being acknowledged, that doesn't really help at all. And
no, I can understand that. That would suck. I do get that. If that's
that
what
would suck.
If that's what you're looking for, absolutely. But maybe not use the Space Cat people.
A good amount of people are feeling uncomfortable that new media understands that.
In fairness, though, everybody should be like Panthro, because Panthro's awesome.
And one, not only tries to include everyone and talk about everything that kids need to hear, but two, that media is an ever-changing art
kids need to hear, yes, do your taxes.
Form that doesn't.
No, Sky, I'm not excited for the Mario Brothers movie. Sorry.
Just stop where you want.
Yeah,
to,
I don't.
Regardless of what.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I've been following that for a while. Like, I remember like when they announced that it was like going to be a thing, and I'm like, this is gonna be a train wreck, isn't it? And then they announced like the cast, and I'm like, is this? I was like, when they I was watching that like the Nintendo Direct while they were announcing the Mario movie, and or the cast, my bad. I thought like I was watching a YouTube poop. I'm like, there's no way this is real, but I'm like, this is real.
Real quick,
Oh,
this guy's starring Chris Pratt, who is so cool. I'm tired of legacy characters being co-opted by Hollywood clowns.
Here's the thing. All right. I'm gonna say this. I haven't seen anybody say this, for like the Mario movie. All right. I honestly think the Mario movie should just be a silent film.
That would be fun.
Yeah, like I don't see too many of those, but I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you wanna make it like the games, like honestly, how you should, honest to God, make it a silent film. Like the characters in Mario really don't say that much.
Not interested in the Mario Brothers movie. Give me voice actors, not celebrities. Agreed. Fudo Gun says we need to go back to dressing in trench coats. I agree, but also cloaks, because those are awesome.
I want, regardless of what anyone else wants, regardless of anything, it will continue to change and reflect the world around it. And you can't really do shit about it. I know that bit got serious, but bitching on Twitter about the CalArt style ain't gonna do shit. Sure.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing CalArt style for two reasons. Number one, it is grossly misused in terms of general parlance to discuss an idea. It's so nebulously and poorly defined. But secondly, it's coined by a doggone kid diddler who has been nothing but worthless for his entire existence. Why does anybody parrot that type of nonsense? And here's another issue I have with a lot of modern like animation critiquers or people in the cartoon community. On one hand, you will see them rightly dunking on John Crispolucci, who's the creator of that term, or the coiner of that term. 100% fine. Dunk on him to your heart's content. Do it as much as possible within any given day. But then they turn around and use the same doggone talking points as though they have any factual statement to them, talking about animation in the 80s. Like, you guys are dumb. Why are you dumb?
I was gonna say, it's like, okay, well, if you're saying that, well, that would be boring though. If the Mario movie was a silent film, I'm like, I'm not sure if you know that much about silent films, man, but like, you can make a very good movie where nobody really says anything. I mean, that is a thing, and you can absolutely do that with Mario. I fully believe that you can do that. I mean, even if you make them, do the whole thing where they're all just gasping, and then, or you have like Wario going, Rah! Come on.
Let's see here. Grim2 says Peter Cullen is Mario again. All right, so let's do this. Luigi, we need to save the princess. Get Yoshi, and we can roll out. I would pay I would also pay any amount of money to have Frank Welker be Bowser, and just do the Galvatron voice and make him a raving madman. Like, that would be, I would watch that Mario movie. I would watch it on repeat for 3 days straight. That would be great. All right, let's finish this up so we can go watch the PSAs and see what they're actually like.
You can do mental gymnastics to justify why today's media is crazy. But no, it's just as valuable as the media you grew up with. And
then why do you keep devaluing it?
What?
I am constantly seeing this guy, because I get sent stuff, right? This guy dunking on 80s animation, dunking on people who like it. Like, you're sitting there saying, well, this is just as valuable as that. You don't value it, so it's not valuable at all to you. Why can't people be consistent in their values?
This stuff... Yeah, I know, I immediately caught that. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you...
Why? No, what I want is I want a 2-hour Dragon Ball silent film.
Oh, Dragon... Oh, what do you mean? None of them are gonna go... Ah!
No, they will. You just won't hear it.
Oh.
You just see them with their mouths open and power flaying. You're like, well, this is a thing now. Let's see here. So you let the Mario Brothers get away, and you stood there and didn't stop him. I would love for Frank Welker. I would love it. I would love it so much, but he's not going to, because they're tossing him to side for some reason.
Just as valuable as the media before that, as long as it wasn't like racist. There's a lot of that. But
yeah, I'm not going to pretend like animation hasn't had its sins. Let's not be dishonest here.
Point is, overgeneralizations ain't ever helped nobody, nigga.
Oh God, Mint says, can we get Jace as Mario and Sarah as Yoshi and me as Bowser? I would never want Jace as Mario. They would immediately destroy the studio. He would just start saying the most horrendous of things to see if he can get fired. What would happen? He'd be like, all right, I'm going to be Mario. All right, so I'm going to call Bowser, right? Hello, Bowser? Yes, Jace. Kill yourself. Go to Walmart. Buy a gun. Oh, does Butcher King have a Walmart? Whatever Walmart is. Go to your turtle blacksmith. Buy a gun and kill yourself. And you're gay. And then you hang up. And that'd be the movie. Well, you need to rescue the princess, Jace. I don't care about her. I'm playing my video games. I'm watching this, and it doesn't seem like he's devaluing. Not in this video. I'm talking about in general, from what he said on other videos and how he operates on Twitter. This video seems to basically be saying people are upset that modern cartoons are tackling serious subjects. Yeah, that's a pretty goofy thing to be upset about. Yet old cartoons also tackle that stuff. Some people are being hypocritical. Well, find a room full of people, and I'll find you a room full of hypocrites.
And that goes for all sides. Just because you don't like how something looks, that doesn't mean it's the depth of animation or the...
Yes, it is. This cartoon isn't drawn in my preferred style, which is everybody having handsome Squidward face. Therefore, animation is dying.
Times you can remember best were better. And just because what's being talked about isn't something you like as much, doesn't mean that it's bad. You just gotta learn that some stuff either wasn't made for you, or some stuff you...
I hate wasn't made for you. I hate wasn't made for you. Not in this case, because it literally wasn't, but usually it's a retort people make when you don't like a reboot. What wasn't made for you? Well, the original wasn't made for you, so why are you rebooting it? That type of counter-argument. Random Pool Guy, thank you again for another super chat. Yes, that Jace. Yes, that Jace.
Yes, that Jace.
Ah! F you, Luigi. I could see him doing that. I could see Jace doing that. I'm not going to go fight Bowser. You do it for me.
You do it for me.
Yes, the hate watching one will come after we look at these PSAs real quick.
Need to hear, and good media will always still exist unless it is both new and actually bad on so many describable levels. But if not, stay
I don't know what he was cutting to there, but I'm pretty sure that was shade on something.
mad. Somebody will take you to
I don't
the
know
little
what that
gay
was.
space rocks during the PSA shouldn't piss you off.
The rest of my life without seeing that, but anyways.
I didn't need to see that. Let's get the fuck off of that.
Yeah, hold on.
There we go. That's better.
Thank you. Well, marginally better. Steven, Universe.
Better.
Come on, fingers, type. PSA. Alright, so let's see. How many do we have here? 5. Let's just watch 3, because I don't want to have to go through all of them. And who is pinging
Let's
me?
see here.
Who dares?
Hold on a sec. Let's see here. Animation being dead is subjective. I say the East is rising when it comes to animation. I don't know. I do not know.
Hold on.
Digital animation was a mistake.
No. The East is not rising because people in Japan wind up dying because they overwork themselves. No, sorry, we don't parrot that nonsense here. Copy link address. All right, so we're gonna look at the "Don't Deny It, Defy It," which I think is the anti-racism one. All right, let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
Prepare to be copyright struck by Cartoon Network.
Well, make sure to crop it a little bit.
All right.
What was it? I think it's Alt Shift on OBS to crop it just a little bit if you want.
I just literally go to the main monitor thingy and go whoop.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
You are crop edited. Hopefully that won't mess with the viewers too much. Let me get to the thingamahoo's of whatsits. There we goes. All right. He's cutting the Power Rangers Megaforce, which seeing the fan that was the worst Power Ranger. I didn't even waste my time with it, so I don't. All right, that's cutting and fully deserved. All right, so continue.
Hey, when we're older, let's get married. Ha! You can't get married. Why not? Black people can't marry white people.
That's. Oh my God.
What?
No. No. That's not how kids would tease each other. It'd be far worse. But let's see where they're going here, okay? Let's see where they're going.
Hey now.
It's Garnet from Steven Universe.
Where's Bo Star when we need him? Where he just morphs out of some other child, gives a really weird lesson, and then walks away, and Susie's gone forever.
Yeah.
Kids, don't be racist.
That's how we do things? We just say, don't be racist? Okay. I guess this is where they cut it and talk about the real issue, so we'll
Yeah.
cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut. Okay, people, we just need to get coverage. We'll start again in 5.
This is the cheesiest job I've ever done. Stuff like this doesn't actually happen in real life.
That's true. It doesn't, because they call you worse things.
Yeah, they would do very much worse things.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can't go over that here because, wow.
Kidding. It totally does.
Just because this has never happened to you doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Seriously, I didn't know. Yeah, everyone messes up sometimes. But you gotta realize it hurts to deal with racism. And when people act like it's not real, it makes it feel even worse.
You have to acknowledge racism to work against it.
You're right. I can do that.
You kids better work on this before the wedding.
Whoa, that's just for the script. We only just met today.
Okay, so I don't know. I almost think that the latter part was cheesier than the first part, honestly.
I honestly just... That's way too cheesy, and I don't... Okay. So something about that just rubs me the wrong...
I guess what Rodham is talking about being a little bit too corny, because...
That's way too corny, dude.
Or be too preachy, because, I mean, we could look at the G.I. Joe PSAs, and some of the situations the kids get into are somewhat contrived, but this seems almost talking down to type, and maybe it's just because I'm an old man, and maybe because it's literally not made for me. Maybe I just don't get it, and I'm not going to pretend that... I'm not even doing a hand wave, haha, this is just me saying criticism, bad. Like, I genuinely may not get it. That might be the case here. I don't know. But I know I recently watched the G.I. Joe PSAs, and they're still pretty solid. And that's not nostalgia talking in that case. That's just how they coach things. So let's watch another one, and then we're gonna
sure.
Then we're gonna contrast.
You know what? Oh, hold on a sec. You know what? Maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I'm like maybe it's because it's just super corny. Maybe that's just not an issue. I don't know. It just feels very awkward, extremely awkward to watch.
All right, so let's go ahead. I think Keckers mentioned this, or somebody did. Did it? Yeah, somebody said this doesn't devalue Garnet in this. So let's see if their point still stands. God, that's loud. Amethyst and friends. Does Amethyst have friends?
Colorblindness is our game because everyone's the same. Everybody join our circle. Doesn't matter if you're white or black or purple.
What the? Whoa. Hold up a minute here. Ugh, who wrote this? I think it kind of does matter that I'm purple. I mean, I'm purple because I'm literally an alien.
Well, I'm not an alien, but it definitely matters to me that I'm black.
You're all aliens to me.
Yeah, it makes a difference that I'm white. I know the two of us get treated very differently.
I just think it's messed up to compare me being an alien to you two being different races. You're both human. You're totally biologically the same. Adding purple people into a lesson about human racism makes no sense.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Okay, I was told that, and I'm not playing this up. I was told that this type of thing doesn't devalue, but if you're making characters that are coded to be a specific way and trying to teach via that, then saying that putting her in that same lineup doesn't teach kids the proper value. I'm kind of confused on that one, and I'm not trying to be catty about that. I'm genuinely confused because that seems like a contradictory value here. I don't know, Sarah. Do you think I'm off base here? I am missing this somehow.
I'm having the brain sparks flying again. It's just so awkward. It's so awkward to me.
Let's try to finish this thing out.
Yeah, let's finish this thing out.
People like the
No, Opal. Instead, they use Garnet to talk about gay relationships in the show, which isn't much different.
Black, white, or purple thing?
And she is coded black. Let's go ahead and at least admit that.
Because adding a fantasy race in there helps distract from the actual racism black people have to deal with.
Right. My experience with anti-black racism is really specific. Other people of color experience other forms of racism too, but you won't see any of that if you don't see color.
Racism wasn't really talked about on the... You don't see fusions as also a form of racism, or the off colors? You don't see that as a form of racism? It's weird. Maybe I'm just reading something different out of it. The joys of media, right?
Dude, so this
I
entire
guess.
public service announcement could be a ploy to avoid talking about racism altogether.
See is how some people code Piccolo. Piccolo's black and I'll die on that hill.
Hey,
Piccolo's
can we
black.
get a rewrite where we appreciate each other without erasing what makes each of us different?
Okay, but it's gonna add a couple hours to the shoot.
I can
My
make it work.
speaker's open.
You were
Of course your schedule's open. You're a child. What are you going to do? Watch Sesame Street?
rolling just now, weren't you? Can't we just slap some graphics on this and call it?
I'm less worried about the kids being midgets, Grim, and I'm more worried about why they're not getting bullied for not having fingers. Okay, so the inherent values they're putting out here aren't bad, which is what most people are.
Yeah, they're not bad.
It's what the people Joe was talking about are raging about. They're raging about the values being taught, which are not bad. See color, be anti-racist. It's no different than telling people, hey, don't be a dick to kids because they got a different color. Big Bird is a communist. Yes, I heard about that, and that's hilarious. A grown man getting mad at the Muppets is fantastic. But let's see here. Let's find a G.I. Joe PSA. And hopefully it's not one of the memes. Because if I open this and it opens with ham sandwich or pork chop, I'm going to be very mad.
Yeah, no, I'd put the volume warning in case you come across a fucking ear rape YouTube poop. Because a lot of them are that.
Let's see here if I can find one that talks about racism.
Let's see your Mythic Moon. Didn't people get pissed about Garnet and Amethyst fusion because racist stereotypes? Though I don't know.
One person did.
One person?
We don't talk about that person here.
See, if every pork chop were perfect,
we wouldn't have pork chop sandwiches.
have you guys covered his latest video yet? I mean, I don't.
No, the one about blackwashing, is that the one we're talking about?
I have no idea.
I think that's his latest one.
It's 9:20.
Don't worry, we're gonna finish up here pretty soon because we gone through. We'll do this again sometime. But I'm trying to find a really solid one that talks about, because I know there are G.I. Joe ones that have, because I went through a bunch of them, and now of course now that I need them I can't find them.
Oh no, I said it was 9:20 because I got some cat litter boxes. Yeah, I'm still gonna be up all night, like doing the thing
I
like
get
you said.
that, but my point is still the same.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna watch a remastered G.I. Joe PSA about pork chop sandwiches. YouTube. Stop that. How to tread water, catch a fire, don't do what a stranger said, right way.
While he's trying to find it, I mean, the Steven Universe PSAs. I mean, again, the values are like they're fine. I don't really have a problem with that. It's just it comes off as extremely awkward the way that they're framed. I get that. At bare minimum. I don't know. I just kind of I honestly feel like I can see a lot of the responses to the PSAs from like a mile away. On I guess in specifically the way that they're framed. I mean, I don't know. It honestly feels like the conversations surrounding the PSAs are a mess.
Yeah, and I think the PSAs themselves probably go on too long because I'm looking at the runtime on all these other ones. They're like 30 seconds.
Yeah, was that a minute long?
That was a minute 44 seconds long.
Oh, geez.
Like,
yeah, I think that's probably why like it felt a little bit weird because I'm used to the PSAs that are like what 40 seconds.
30 seconds. Let's see here. This one isn't specifically about racism; it's about sexism. But let's go ahead and plug this in.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Alright! Hi guys, can I skate with you?
Nah, you're just a girl.
No kidding.
Go ho!
Let her try. You might be surprised.
Okay, but
Thanks!
wow, look at that!
Don't judge people till you give them a chance.
Because there's a chance you could be wrong. Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I.
Joe.
You know, a lot of people talk about the G.I. Joe PSAs not being really realistic, but I grew up on Navy bases, and a Marine coming out of nowhere to tell you what to do is very realistic, I will have you know. But see, it's short, it doesn't talk down to you, and it's to the point. And honestly, they got some really solid ones as well. I'm going to play one more just so we can be fair here, for lack of a better word.
I think you could put it on full screen now on the watch together on your stream.
Nope, because it's Hasbro and I don't trust them either. They copyright struck my toy review of Star Convoy. Are you kidding me?
Oh. Okay, never mind.
And it was fully transformative. They don't care. Actually, I think that may not be accurate, Kecker's Boy. I think they were made after the show ended, but I could be wrong. Like, I didn't keep that much track of it. All right, so this is about what to do if a house is on fire.
Oh no.
Look! Smoke! Let's get out of here! Ow!
Don't go out that door.
It's barbecue!
You might let in poisonous gases. Stuff something under the door. And stay low. That way you avoid the...
Who are you and why are you in my house?
It's barbecue. He's firefighter.
Remember, if a fire breaks out in your home,
No, I'm
always
just
test the door first. If it's hot, find another exit or yell for help.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
Short, sweet, to the point, and gives really good information. Like, that's something a kid should know, because a kid's not going to always have their parents there if the house is on fire, especially if you're me and you're the one that caused the fire. Anywho, you're probably going to have to go here, but I'm going to see if I should watch one more Veridis Joe. So let's see here.
Okay, which one? Is this one going to be the hardest one?
I don't know, because we got a few here. We have him on parasocial relationships, which he's probably accurate on. We're at Adventurous. Pride is for everyone. Hate watching and outrage culture. Blackwashing doesn't exist. Why black edits aren't racist. That's one that somebody just asked about in the chat. I'm probably not going to be able to go through all of these. There's a lot of these things. Your favorite fan is toxic. Here, chat, why don't you guys tell me what you want?
Yeah, what recent Veridis Joe video?
Why is he leaning away from manuals to induct them into his barbecue cult? He must have new victims.
G.I. Joe.
I'm barbecue, and I'm going to tell you how to be barbecue as well, because now you will take my place and assume the cursed responsibility of talking to children in the middle of a house fire. It's a cursed existence. That's why I said it was a curse.
Let's see here. Look at something else right now. Am I getting a modify of something? What is this? eBay. What is eBay? No, not the eBay.
About to say, what does that sound want?
Yeah, no,
say,
eBay
hey,
doesn't
guys,
want
what's
it.
going on?
What's going on, guys? You know, I can't wait till like the big thing next Friday, and then like I announce it to everybody, and so, hey guys, what's going on? That's exactly what's gonna happen. I'm calling it now a week ahead of time.
Let's see here. Check the chat.
The blackwashing one. I haven't watched the blackwashing video. I mean, that's the only thing I'm seeing right now.
Well, I guess we're gonna go with the blackwashing one.
I'm gonna hate this one. Oh boy.
Well, let's try not to pause every 5 seconds. I say primarily to myself.
Well, no. I'm saying I'm gonna hate this one because I just hate the topic.
Well, I think it depends on how he angles it. So let's find out.
Yeah. I haven't. I know this video was linked in the chat, like I think from Opal, like a week or two ago. And I'm like, I just see the title and I'm like, nope, bye, nope, not watching this. But I'm like, okay.
Well, it all depends on how he coaches it, because I'll give him that chance, right? We gotta argue in good faith here, and I don't have personal.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying I'm like, okay, I'll watch it now. That's why I'm saying that.
All right, so let's try this.
Stuff about like racism and hypocrisy and like fake gotcha moments. Cosmo, bro, do you care like at all?
No, he's a dog. I'm sorry, but he probably doesn't. But he cares about you, and that's the important thing.
No.
I remember a while ago when I was talking to a group of friends, I posted this Black Ryoko edit from the Your Favorites Dark Skin Twitter account. And there was one friend out of the group who took it upon themselves to post an edit of White Garnet and proceeded to say how it works both ways and how this Garnet looks better than this.
The White Garnet was a troll. It was made to upset people. So Your friend's dumb.
Capping, this is what he said. Like, he would just be contrarian for no other reason than to start shit. He was capping out of his ass. And obviously, he was wrong, but I didn't exactly feel like telling him why. Well, if you're watching this right now, nigga, I got time today. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. All right, new story time. So the other day, I opened Twitter. Obviously, never a good idea. And I saw a user getting their ass beaten.
That's good. That's never a good idea.
Is it me, or is 9 times out of 10 when he's talking about something, it's because somebody pissed him off on Twitter? I mean, if that's what he does, that's what he does. But man, Twitter's a hellscape. That's why I jump in as Doom Guy.
Image and many others like it on their account, and these are obviously bait. Some of you couldn't assume I have common sense and decided to tell me I fell for the bait when responding, when all I did was say ew. No shit, it's bait. They want attention, and I decided to make fun of them for Twitter likes. But clearly what they did here was turn loose from the house, the brown-skinned Dominican American, into a flavorless, undercooked, for lack of a better word, lint leech. Nigga, get the fuck out, man! And not only did they do it to fuck with people, they did it to prove a point. A point I see so many times that I'm here to dismantle and disprove. In multiple tweets, they expressed how black people aren't oppressed and that racism works both ways. Clearly, from those statements alone, this wasn't made for shits and giggles and to make niggas mad. The nigga in question did this with reasoning behind it. And I want you to take a look at these two edits.
Well, I mean, it's highly possible, even if he says something really dumb, he's doing it to piss people off.
Although at their basic objective core, both characters having their race being altered in an edit, they aren't the same, and they ain't comparable for multiple reasons. These images are not the same, and I'm gonna explain why. And you probably guessed, but I'm finna get into that right now. But before that, we got a word from our sponsor.
Screw off.
You'll never guess. I kid you not, Raid Shadow Legends.
Okay, nope.
If your sponsor is not batheinmymilk.com, you are invalid.
Nope. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay, we're not looking at Raid Shadow Legends. All right, good.
Samurai Champloo, good cartoon.
I don't know if anyone told you, but this month is the month that the art community calls Blacktober. A lot of you non-social media niggas probably are unaware as to what that is, so allow me. Black artists and editors have started to draw themselves into the things that they love. And by that I mean drawing them as black or their faves as black. A lot of people obviously did not like that, and with that came a lot of harassment thrown at said artists and editors. Blacktober is a month-long prompt thing that was created to combat all the hate and malice with fun. And people have a problem with this whole movement because they think it's racist and say it's blackwashing, seeing as people truly believe other people are canonically changing the races of these characters.
That's a real dumb thing to say. It's just fan art. Why does anybody get twisted about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like whenever I see it like come up on my feed. I mean, I thought it was kind of weird, but I'm like, I don't really care.
Like, I
just don't really
I'm not
care.
gonna pretend like there's not fan art that hasn't irritated me, but when I see art, I can do one of two things. I can either identify it as whether I like it or not, or I can critique it. Or, I'm sorry, three things. Or I can just dismiss it. Like, okay, so if I see a piece of Thundercat fan art I don't like there's this one image, and I can't even remember who did it because I don't care, of like a furry version of Lion-O. I mean, full lion head. He's crossing his arms, and I'm like, I don't like this. So I move on. I don't spend an entire Twitter thread being mad about it. If I see Thundercat fan art I don't like, 9 times out of 10, it's because they've put too much of the animal into the character, or they made the Claw Shield furry, and people who make the Claw Shield furry do not deserve rights. But if I see somebody, and I've seen people, turn Lion-O from Space Catman to Black Space Catman, my response isn't, how dare you, it's, oh, that's either drawn well or drawn poorly, and then I scroll and move on about my life. I toss a like if I like it, I don't toss a like if I don't like it. This isn't difficult. God, continuing.
Or at least trying to. In an attempt to try to educate the people who were making these edits, people decided to do the exact opposite to prove a point. But like I said earlier, these two images aren't the same.
Well, yeah, one's better done, first and foremost. Let's address that. The one on top is really well done. The other one's just, man, you just threw that in Photoshop. You lazy.
Never will be. Now it's time for me to explain that. Although I think I'll get a little more comfortable first. I'm saying I'm going to do the cool green screen thing again because I like doing it and it's cool and it's time effective. Yeah. First off, one was created positively.
That background is going to make my brain scramble. Ouch.
I'm going to get a seizure.
Like, I know you're trying to do the whole 90s aesthetic Saved by the Bell thing, but that hurts.
You can see from the quality of the edit, while the other was created in retaliation of the other. Now,
well, no, the white garnet was done by a Tumblr troll to piss people off. So that's incorrect. But the general idea that some people do it in retaliation as opposed to just because they want to do it, that's not incorrect.
Yeah, that within itself is not wrong.
yeah, she might just want to use a better image next time because it's not like he's gonna have a shortage of them. Let's be honest here.
You might say, why does that even matter? Well, here's a comparison. There's
Jessica Harry, I don't GAF about blackwashing or whitewashing. Kind of look down on both sides of this debate. Well, in this case, we're talking about fan art, so
yeah.
This teeny little organization, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called Black Lives. And then there's All Lives Matter. People who say ALM opposed to BLM or supporting a movement that was made in retaliation of a movement made for the support and giving of voices to black people.
Well, you know, I'm not an ALM person, but at the same time, I think some of those people genuinely don't get it. They don't understand it. And I think it's best to reach out to those people. I don't support the organization of BLM because they're commies, but I understand the general movement and the hashtag used by on the street people, and there is a lot of inequality there, a lot of really bad policing, and my heart goes out to them, and they're safe in my community. But just, I don't know, man. I just wish people could talk.
Movement solely made for us to be treated as equal. Both still movements at their core, but one movement is in retaliation of the other. To simplify things, say we're on a playground, right? We're also kids, we're not weirdos. And so
stay off my monkey bars. They're my monkey bars. I am the monkey of this jungle. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say stay away from my swing.
I will take your swing and I will incorporate it into my monkey bars because I am the king of the jungle.
Stay away from my swing.
My brother got a scar on his forehead at the playground once. That was funny, but anyways.
There's a kid who falls down and he breaks his leg. And so he's asking everybody, somebody call help, my fucking leg's broken, oh my God. And then there's another kid who's on the playground who's not hurt, who's like, well, what about my leg? Diverging the attention from the root problem.
The adult response is to break all their legs.
See, I'm a egalitarian.
I'm a egalitarian. Get the hammer.
I'm egalitarian.
Kid with the broken leg. Also in the scenario, the kid with the not broken leg talking about what about his leg is really popular. He's really popular. He's always been popular for like forever. And the one time...
Then we beat him. We beat the popular child.
An issue or a subject is not about him. He's trying to make it about himself. Do you see how that's fucked? If you don't get that, I think this video isn't for you. I really don't want to follow in deaf ears. You probably should go like right now. All right, now let's bring it back. I talked about this before conveniently in the video right before this one.
Oh, that's cursed.
Black edit.
That's cursed.
I've been anime conventions. I've seen worse.
I know, but it's like I just see that and I'm like, oh no.
Primarily because of the lack of representation of black animated characters in animated media.
Well, if you're primarily using anime in that case, because I know you said animated, but it's primarily using anime, because most fiction is a representation of your lived experience in your life and the world around you, there's not many black people in Japan. So that's why they're not going to be very represented in anime. And I know that sounds really terse, but that's just how a society works. And we do live in a society, but that's just how a society works when it comes to the fiction they create. Is it the best thing in the world? Probably not. Definitely not.
No,
but
probably not.
Japan's also, let's just say not very progressive in their views on racial identity. So let's go ahead and continue.
You say we got plenty of representation.
Mr. Popo.
You know, even when I was a kid, I didn't actually see Popo as a black dude. I just thought he was some other random alien from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I thought Mr. Popo was an alien, but the rest of those,
And I got to share this story.
Oh no!
First time I went to an anime convention, it was Onicon 2010, I think, and a friend of mine, Kubak, the Game Warrior, and my buddy D-Rock, we stopped by Whataburger before, and D-Rock went in to order something. D-Rock's black, like he actually has like the high top, like dude's got good cut. He went inside, so he wasn't anywhere near the vehicle, completely away from it. And we just randomly started talking about Dragon Ball and the Dragon Ball Z Kai, which was being aired in the States on Nickelodeon at the time, and how they edited Popo to be blue, like a painful blue, and why that was. And the conversation stopped, and then Derek came out of the Whataburger, got in the car, said, "Oh, Derek, you just missed a really good conversation." He's like, "Oh, the one about Popo?" We just stopped and looked at him like, "How did you know?" Because there was no way he would have known. We didn't start talking before he went in. We weren't talking when he came back. There's no way he could have heard us. And he just looked at both and said, "Oh, I'm black. I can feel these things." And I just accepted that because I have no other contrary information to it. Mr. Popo is a Dijin. Yes, that is true. if you look into like the cultural depiction of degens, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at all of these though that he gives as an example, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty gross.
It
Ugh.
is. It's
That's really gross.
well, Japan's xenophobic, so doesn't surprise
I
me.
mean, yeah, they are.
See, that's why we just need more characters like Panthro. Anyways.
Stop the cap. Most of the mainstream anime that I right now don't feature accurate black representation or black representation at all. And trust me, we're thankful for what we're getting right now, but that's now. For decades, we were getting this or nothing. Side note, I don't ever think that Killer Bee's a racist caricature. I think he's cool as fuck, and that's my nigga right there. Some people just don't get it. He's just icy, all right? He icy. That nigga threw them hands on Sasuke. But because of this lack of characters in our race, we had to latch on to characters that weren't even representative of our own race.
Yo! Piccolo is objectively black.
He's also like one of the best characters in that show, and I can't stand Dragon Ball. I understand Piccolo. I understand Piccolo on a spiritual level. I just want to be left alone. I want to live in my wilderness, do my training, and I'm always being put in charge of people's kids, and then they disappear. Trust me, Piccolo, I feel you. And I'm not black, but I feel you.
Over the years, we've made headcanon.
And the balls are inert.
I'm urging, I'm like resisting the whole don't shoot. This man is.
Oh God!
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
they knew what they were doing when they recorded that.
They did. All right, continuing.
Where they are black. Notice I said the headcanon in a popular belief. We don't actually believe these characters are black. I know Piccolo's a fucking Namekian. Everyone knows Piccolo's a Namekian. We just like to think, what if?
I mean, I know he ain't, but like, what are these, bro? These are do-rags. Gohan and Piccolo are swimming. You cannot tell me otherwise.
Shit, headcanoning shouldn't even be that much of a problem. I've seen people do a lot more outside of race. Some niggas headcanon characters into completely new, different characters. I'm calling y'all out. Y'all motherfuckers will headcanon a character that's nothing like you and then make that nigga just like you, which changes their character entirely. Don't worry, it's okay though. I just know. Remember that?
I mean, subjectively, yes, but I'm judging you.
Judging.
Super is amazing, and I refuse to see. I've seen clips. I'm very proud of my man. He's getting up in the world. There's a reason.
There's a reason
Big Green. Oh, God,
Big Green.
Don't start Big
Green.
One bigot dickhead cop from Detroit become human. Niggas made him the new Connor and also like a tsundere love interest. This is a bigot.
This is why we don't trust people with cartoon characters and fictional characters, because they'll dick it up. Thank you, Twitter.
Robo-racist who probably is homophobic. What were y'all doing? Anyways, people love.
Well, I mean, I can't talk too much because back when Columbine happened, there were like Yahoo groups and pages of people swooning over them, and those were real world killers.
They still exist.
I know they do. I know they do.
The Columbiners. I mean, oh, they're so hot, right? They're so hot when they walk down those hallways in those trench coats. I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer, he was so cute. I'm like, yeah, that's how you would have died. Continuing.
Calling this blackwashing, but that's not a thing, like, at all. It does not exist. First off, again, this is just an example of someone making something in retaliation.
When an established character is turned black for no reason other than to diversify the cast, this is the opposite of whitewashing. Well, those are, of course, unofficial medias. So, yeah, it's not blackwashing because it doesn't fit the definition, and it's just fan art. That's it. It's just fan art. Why are people getting twisted over fan art?
Of something else. Blackwashing? That doesn't even sound right. Obviously derived from the term whitewashing, which, if you did know, is the changing of a character's race from something ethnic and flavorless to white. And that's just not good for nobody. And obviously now the meaning has.
He goofed up there. He's meant to say flavorful, and I said flavorless. So, you know.
Updated to accommodate for the coloring of a darker skinned character.
Oh no.
Than what they're
not
supposed
that one.
To be,
Oh no.
not...
Oh, fun fact. I actually know the guy who did like the actual coding edit that turned Nessa white because he thought it'd be funny. That's entirely
wow.
He didn't do it to make some racial statement or to like get people all riled. He just thought it'd be funny, and people lost their minds over it.
Yeah, I was seeing it go around like all over the place, and I could have sworn like whoever, you know, did it at the time while it was going around, like just did it because they thought it was funny.
Now, granted, I'd never do that because that's just.
Oh no, hell no.
That's not my.
Hell no, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't make Nessa white. I'd make her like super jacked, like Broly levels of huge. That's my type of humor. I'm here to battle with Pokemon.
That would be funny.
I will break you with my animal, or I will use my animal to break you. Anyways.
For nobody. I got a confession, y'all niggas say I never missed. I never missed any harder than this video. This video is almost 2-3 years old, but if I did miss the point more harder, I wouldn't know what this was. Obviously, you can tell from the thumbnail, I was saying that nobody was whitewashing Nessa, which is wrong. That's not right at all. People were drawing her light as fuck. for no reason. And I completely missed the point about the erasure of dark skin representation and how that's no good for nobody. Live and learn. Sometimes you have good friends that teach you. Love you, Thuman. Now, some of you probably think you got me in.
Nothing wrong with learning from your mistakes. Nothing wrong with that at all.
We're gonna say something?
I just did.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
I said there's nothing wrong with learning from your mistakes. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's a big man to admit that.
Yep.
Gotcha moment. Oh, you caught my ass red-handed, caught in 4K. You didn't. Settle down. You're predictable? And I know what you're gonna say. Well, white characters are getting recasted as non-white people more and more these days. And you'd probably call a black person playing a role originally casted as a white person blackwashing as you would for these edits. Well, the difference between a black person playing a role originally a white person did and a white person playing a role originally a black person did is reasoning and erasure. No matter how many originally white roles taken by non-black people happen, they're still gonna be the dominant party in representation and in real life, like they have been for centuries. But if you take the role from a black person or from another person of color, you are comparatively taking what little representation we have in the first place.
Okay, so now we move from fan art to official things. Real quick to Dark92 Eminem. Thank you for super chat. It's not a thing. What would and tell him what about they did to Mary Jane in the MCU? I think he's actually addressing that now, because initially he was talking about how blackwashing isn't a thing because again it was fan art, but now he's moving on to where the definition would fit a little bit better. So I'm a little confused on that one. Let's continue.
When it comes for reasoning, you have to think: is there a reason why is white in the first place? Probably not.
Well, there is a reason why they're white in the first place, because usually the people who made them are white, and that's how people tend to operate. So that's why.
It's white. The story has nothing to do with them being white, but most of the time, black roles are made for black people to tell black stories or to tell stories that black people need to be in.
Well, I mean that can be true, but that's also true for other people. Like, granted, they go through different struggles. Not going to ever deny that. So.
A black edit is made and posted, and it replies, I see this infamous and, not gonna lie, kind of funny picture of.
That picture was funny because when it was put out, the original DeviantArt artist put that out, said, I just did fan art of Black Panther. I haven't seen the movie yet. I hope you guys like it. It was intentionally daft. That's why it's funny, because the entire point of it was, hey guys, here's the thing that's really weird. What do you mean you're all mad at me? That was its point. It wasn't actually made to trigger people and upset them. It was made to be funny, to have a goof at it, to make fun of a perceived naivete. So that's why that picture kills me every time.
White Black Panther. And this image essentially is the whole but what if we're reverse card, and essentially is a physical representation.
Yeah, some people have taken it and tried to use it as that argument, and it's really dumb.
That is dumb.
Of niggas missing the point. If you want them reversed so bad, you go through 200 years of slavery, decades of segregation, years of systematic oppression.
Well, I mean, technically it did go through the segregation, just, not on the negative, or not negative, the oppressed side of that. So, yeah. He's making some valid points on this case.
And mass incarceration and imprisonment. If not, shut the fuck up talking to me. Otherwise, the roles cannot be reversed. And if your rebuttal is get over slavery, everything's not about race. No, everything is about race, and everything will always be about race.
I'm not sure if I believe that, because there's some things about someone's person that isn't about their race. There's a lot that people do that isn't about their race. Their race is an inherent part of them, and it does play into who they are, but not everything about them is about their race.
Yeah, that's not...
And for the record, before I get some moron in the comments who I'm sure have already started typing, I'm Hispanic, bruh. Like, you're not just hearing some gringo go on about this. Like, I don't know. I just think that's goofy. I mean, if that's how he feels, and if that's how he feels about himself, I'm not going to discount that. That's valid, but it's just not how I operate, and I don't think that's how most people do. Again, that's an assumption, and it could very well bite me in the butt, but,
Talking to me. Shut up. Lower your tone like shit. Black Panther is a character made for black people that has cultural significance. Do white people have like a cultural superhero? If you say Captain America, I'm teleporting to your house and knocking the piss out you.
Do white people have a specific superhero? Well, that's because the white thing is very nebulous. What type of white? We talking about German? We talking about like Polish? What white are we discussing?
I was about to say the I was going to say in this point of the conversation, I was about to say Robert E. Lee.
No.
By the way, we're both Hispanic, by the way.
Yeah, but Black Panther was made by Jack Kirby because he did see that there was a lack of diversity, like real world type of diversity in the Marvel cast. And honestly, he really wanted to piss off racists, and that dude did. And when they threatened him, he said, "All right, tell me what pole you say you're gonna hang me at, and I'll meet you there right now." And when he had clan members show up like at the Marvel office and saying, "Oh, we're waiting downstairs," like, "All right, I'll be right down." That man rolled up his big old sleeve. That dude had arms on him, and went down there. This is a man who has killed Nazis. Like, I'm not talking about some Twitter LARP account. I'm not talking about some person on Tumblr talking about how we should kill all the Nazis, and then they sit there and do nothing but tweet. I'm talking about this dude was in the trenches and like collected him some scalps, went down them stairs, and it was cleared out as an anime convention on Tuesday morning after the con. Like, they were not there, they were gone. That man, he did not have balls of steel. His became the core of the earth. They were that dense and powerful. Like, they had their own gravitational pull. And that's why I love me some Jack Kirby. So, continuing.
As people bring up the counter argument, well, why don't you make your own to changing the race of existing ones? And to clarify, number one, again, we aren't changing the races of these characters. These are headcanons and AUs. And number
well, yeah, but you just used like actual production examples as well, man. And this is something I've noticed from the little bit we've seen. He pivots really quickly from one point to another without really any logical follow through on that. Or in the case of his political video, he didn't even mention how it's not political at all. He just talked about how it exists, which is fine. It's just the title's really backwards. You're flip-flopping, man. You can't do that. That's number one, it confuses the watcher, and two, it kind of sinks your argument there.
That's valid. I mean, if not for the fact that you things at the same time, well, it's not hurting anyone because these edits hurt literally no one. It isn't like these characters are being officially recast or retconned as black ones. They're just edits, and they're not bad ones either. The counters are usually crude, bad looking, crusty, ugly, and that's because the message.
You know, I love the descriptor crusty. I really do.
Just behind these two are very.
I agree, everything is not about race, yet it tends to be the thing people will knowingly or unknowingly judge you on. That is true. The video just kind of says life is color and color is life. That's not inherently wrong. Modern artists wish they had half the balls Jack Kirby had. Long live Kirby. Yeah, and his work is still being tossed around poorly. I hate that. Like, if you ever want true heartbreak, look at how some of these original comic creators ended. Look at how their lives ended. Good Lord. He tends to just number out without saying he's switching with subtext. Yeah, in this case, he did it right in the middle of one other topic, and that's what's confusing me about him, Kecker. So it just throws me off because I like straight, thorough lines.
Different. One's clearly positive and with love, while the other is with an.
Ethan Michael Crane says Joe is obviously really passionate about his arguments, and passion doesn't equate to being right. There's more that he needs to tighten them a little more.
Yeah, is it because he's just talking real fast?
I don't think it's because he's talking really fast. I think that he's just kind of going off the cuff, and you can do that sometimes, but when you're making an argument about something, it's best not to do that. It's best to make sure it's tight, it's prepared, and it's ready to go. Sometimes going at it one or two times, getting a friend to peek in on it, it would really make the flow better, and it would make his arguments tighter.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that he has his script like in front of him, on that laptop right there. If this is scripted, I'm sure it is. Probably, maybe, I don't know.
I can't tell anymore.
I mean, maybe it's not. I don't know. Go for it.
Comes off as combative and misses the point.
Yeah, but these edits, anyway, give me that fucking plate. It's also funny someone made a Nagatoro edit like this, but like she's not black. We do not claim y'all tan line light skins.
I mean, I wouldn't claim Nagatoro anyways because that girl crazy, but it also Emily said this, and I kind of stand with her on it because I've seen clips like it's really uncomfortable to watch. Like if I was that artist and this girl shows up and like starts all but sexually assaulting me, I guess it's because of how I'm built, through the struggles of my own life. My response isn't, "Oh, please don't tease me." Oh, don't. It's, "Hey, there's a window. Let's see how far you can far out of it. Just yeet. Throw the small child out the window. See if she bounces." Anyways, right now he's about discussing fan edits and didn't have a hard breaking saying you switched it correct. This guy has a coherency and pretentiousness of Mr. Ender video. Hold on. Let's not be too mean here.
That's going a little bit. It's a little bit too far there.
Y'all can keep Nagatoro. She ain't getting drafted.
Please stay away. Now, I can lie to you and say that I got bored of doing the green screen thing, or I can say my internet has been out for about a month and I've been staying and recording at a friend's house. Either way, I guess we'll be back after these messages.
Oh, it's another merch. Oh, here we go.
Is
Nope.
when some people
There
do
we
one
go.
of these edits or drawings, they refer to it as fixing it. And I ain't gonna cap, this is flawed on both sides. On one side, you have some people actually seeing this as fixed or but better, which obviously pushes the narrative that that is what everyone thinks.
Well, that's also a subjective value, because again, art's subjective. If they think that's fixed or better, they're welcome to that. I may disagree depending on the situation, but
On the other, you have people assuming that everyone who makes these edits carries that same mindset, which is assuming that every black person is trying to quote-unquote fix these existing characters by turning them black. And yeah, no. If you're a part of the minority that unironically thinks this, while putting down their often not white race, that's not right. But assuming everyone else is carrying this mindset too is also wrong. Like I said, people don't think they're changing their race, they're making their own headcanons. And while that does not cover the small minority we don't claim, it does give the other side another thing to use against us as a whole. And fixing art, oh my god. Obviously, the whole fix...
the only true factual way to fix art is to give everyone the handsome Squidward head. I have spoken. Let it be done.
thing is just never good to do at all. Through the whole whitewashing Nessa situation, you had people doing what they called fixing art of Nessa that was whitewashed by while making it darker, which only really muddied the waters of who was in the right and who was in the wrong in the situation. Almost all of the people who were on the side of advocating
Yeah, just in general, if somebody posts art and your response is to edit that art and then throw it back, say, "Oh, I fixed it." How do I put this? Please jump into a gorilla enclosure. Anyways, moving on.
Following Nessa with completely dark skin did not find it okay to do this to someone's art, and neither do I. No matter the circumstance, you should never ever edit someone's art. And if I hear you call me a hypocrite because you're comparing someone's fan art to studio, like official art, shut the fuck up talking to me. What you should do is just let them know that they can't color dark skin right, and they maybe should learn how to, because you'll be surprised.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, hey, let me walk you through this. For example, my art for a while had a hard time shading in terms of popping, giving a three-dimensional look, because I used to use gray to shade, and I would of course multiply the layer. And then Pondersprock is like, hey, use purple, or use this other contrasting color to the main color, and that made an immediate difference in the art. So sometimes it just takes somebody saying, hey, I see you're struggling here. You don't do this in public. You don't shame them. That's just wrong. You pull them aside like, hey, do you mind some constructive criticism? And if it's an artist and they know how to be humble, you can say, hey, sure, absolutely. Now, if they're arrogant, then they're a lost cause anyways. Let them meander a bit. But there's better ways to do it.
How many people can't, and how many people try to weasel their way out of it. Oh, dark skin isn't just part of my passed out ooh art style. Ever seen a chocolate cake nigga? It go together. Miss me with that Tim Burton black people don't fit in my aesthetic bullshit. You just a lazy ass. It's so obvious how people cannot.
I don't get Tim Burton. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Yes, I shaded with gray. What part of I am a monkey with a supercomputer do you not understand? I come from like the traditional aspect of art where all I had were colored god-dang pencils. You kids these days, you're spoiled.
Control V on Vegas.
You kids are spoiled on this digital stuffs. I didn't have that when I was your age. Literally, I didn't have it.
Do not ever try to color dark skin, and that for sure is because of a lack of dark skin representation in media, which is why people make their own to feel better. I don't know if you can see the correlation, but all of this is connected. I'm not just putting these things together that don't make sense to make it make sense. These are all correlated. This is just another clear as day example of why representation matters. If people saw more brown or dark skin representation on the TV, you see it more in people's art because it'd be normalized. A lot of y'all forget this stuff.
Well, I mean, frankly, I think people should just break out of their rut and draw things that make them uncomfortable. And I don't mean like sexually uncomfortable. I mean like something their weekend. That's why I dedicated the majority of Inktober to drawing girls, because I suck at it.
Is taught, and people keep the same beliefs not because they're right, but because the same beliefs are being taught to kids. I mean, it's just unfortunate that this is an issue that not a lot of people know or care about. Unfortunately, not every anime wants to be Fire Force or cares about black people, but like it or not, a lot of black people consume anime, and black people just as other.
I mean, they do.
I was about to say, I mean, not wrong.
True, but at the same time, the struggle you're going to have here, Veridis, which I'm sure you're never going to see this stream, is that you're talking about it reflecting reality because that's the way the world is. In the States, yes. Not in Japan. that's why you're always going to have that struggle, because Japan, by nature, is xenophobic. They have a very, very low black population. Heck, even if we were to go to religion, Christianity makes up 1% of that country. 1%. That's unheard of in just about every other Western country. So you're going to lose that battle to begin with. Considering declining birth rates and all that, you're looking at like 100-year war at that point before you finally get what you would like on your representation for black people in Japanese animation, more than likely. The other option is the whole globalization aspect, where Japan starts catering their stuff more towards the Western audiences, which good luck with that. And then they start doing it of their own accord, which, again, highly unlikely, but, that's just the reality of the situation.
Minority groups consume media just as much as white people. Dark-skinned niggas look at the same shit light-skinned niggas do. So why exactly aren't they in the shit? I know to a lot of people representation isn't really a big issue because they don't care. But it is. With the lack of it, people take it into their own hands by making their own in different ways. Just how, say, if you're watching a cartoon and they so happen to not have your personality represented, you just might write a self-insert or headcanon one of the characters to be like you.
Well, I mean, ain't no cartoon character.
Oh god, that frame.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super is not very good. But like, this is just, of course, a subjective personal value. I do not think everybody operates like me. Let's be honest, they don't. But I've never looked at a show and said, I don't feel I'm represented in this, or I don't have a character that I feel is much like me, therefore I won't watch it. I watch shows with characters that aren't like me because I want to know about other people and other characters. I know about me. Let's see, Japan doesn't consider their anime characters white. They're drawing majority Asian characters, true, but people associate them as white. Yeah, somebody did a really good video breakdown on the drawing style they use and how it translates into Japanese people instead of white people. It's really interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, no, I literally feel the exact same way. And I'm not taking away from Veridis here at all. That's not my intention here. I when I sit down and I watch a show, I'm not exactly looking for somebody who, I don't know, I can relate to it in that regard. I'm really not. Like, again, I'm Hispanic, and I'm a trans girl now. I don't I don't really seek that stuff out. Again, not taking away from Veridis, but I feel the exact same way there.
Well, we all know what happened last time you saw a show that tried to represent you.
Yeah, the last show that tried to represent somebody like me, that went very well.
The truth is, you just hate it because you're transphobic.
Yeah, no, I hate I don't like High Guardian Spice because I'm transphobic towards myself. Okay?
And when the Japanese do a white dude, you will know they are a white dude, because 9 times out of 10 they have some absurdly hyper, like, what's the word? Extrapolated American thing to them, whether they're wearing like a American flag headband, or they're really rude, or they're curt. They will tell you they are American. They will tell you they are white as well. That's how Japan.
Yeah, no, I've seen that a lot. Like, every American's like, oh man, I gotta have American flag hairband. I gotta have a cool biker jacket.
You better get off this American land. But we're in Japan. Oh, the world belongs to America.
Yeah, pretty much. That represents a Hispanic trans girl. Yeah, hello. Hi, how's it going?
I heard Japan has a tough immigration policy. When living is to work through a work visa, pretty much. Cactus Boy says, I remember growing up, and when I first saw Bulletproof on Cops, that character just made me feel good, seeing the black guy as the leader, not just the muscle guy. I think that's fair. Starting to understand a little bit more of that. But fighting crime in a future time. And then there's Hitalia. We don't talk about Hitalia.
Oh.
Why did you hate the anime of the year? All years, High Guardian Spice. What you didn't hate? You didn't. Okay, I'm just reading it wrong. What, you didn't hate anime of the year? All years, High Guardian Spice. We all hated it for a myriad of reasons.
Everybody hates it. Everybody hates it.
I wonder if it would be difficult to make a controversial anime in the same vein as South Park in Japan. Very difficult, because they are a collectivist culture and they do not take well to stuff like that. Holy crap, they don't take well to stuff like that. Their sense of humor is all basically sarcasm. And even that's difficult sometimes. It's
kind of sad.
That's
in a way.
I don't
a
think
lot of it. Yeah, I've seen. Well, I don't know. It feels off to me in a way.
It's because we're Americans.
That's why.
All right, continuing.
A lot of us do the same, but with our racial identity. Now, obviously, I'm thankful for all the new stuff we got right now. It's great. But as for the edits, I understand them. And I think they're pretty neat. I think you should too. They're made with love. These ones aren't.
Oh, that's it? Okay, we're done.
Okay, so okay, so I get his point, but man, he the old saying here in the South is you went around the barn to get to the front door. Well, I hope you feel better in the future, Kegger boy. I know that sinus stuff isn't fun, so you get some rest, man. We'll catch you later.
I mean, yeah, my problem with HGS isn't the representation; it's terrible. Everything else. I mean, yeah, literally everything about it is terrible. I just brought it up because of what we're talking about here, because I guess it's sort of relevant. But in terms of the actual show itself, I mean, again, I'm going to be doing a complete review about it soon, where I'm talking about, or I guess a bunch of people that I know as well, are going to be talking about everything about the show. Yeah, everything about it's terrible. It's just terrible.
My problem with High Guardian's Psas isn't the representation; it's terrible. Everything else about it, correct. I am going to be doing a segment about how poorly they are handling the weapons. The Alpha Girl had 3 arrows that became 2 arrows that became 3 arrows now. My soul hurts.
No, it's not worth watching.
It is
worth
watching only if you want to make fun of it.
If you want to make fun of High Guardian Spice, go for it.
Haboon says, what kills me, there's clearly reparation done with these arguments, but they're so unfocused. Yeah, he's a big channel, so it's clearly he's getting viewership, but just goodness, like he's got to refine his arguments, and he's got to be, some would say brevity is the soul of wit in this case, to the point. He has a tendency of kind of meandering about it. And again, my only real main contention with him is he really doesn't know anything about 80s animation. And to be honest here, of course, as I tend to be, he's 19, he's young, he's very passionate about animation. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The problem is you have at your fingertips now the ability to research and talk to people who do know. Parroting the same tired, wrong nonsense just because other people parrot the same tired, wrong nonsense is not good. It's not good at all. You gotta know what's worse, High Guardian Spice or Ruby. You can field that one.
High Guardian Spice.
Oof.
I say that immediately because I literally do not like anything about High Guardian Spice. Like, there's things that I liked in Ruby despite that were ruined very quickly. And much later on to the point where I wanted to blow my brains out. But at least there was things that I really liked about Ruby, especially in its second volume. When it comes to High Guardian Spice, I immediately hate it. So that's what I can say about that. Anyways, I got to go do my thing.
Yep, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out for tonight because it's been, 3 hours.
Oh yeah, so are we not going to...
Oh, we're going to, but you got to clean the cat boxes first.
All right, yeah, and I got to go do a few other things, so give me like 40 minutes or so.
Sure. I will catch you
all
guys later. Thank you all for your time and very kind super chats, and we'll go through somebody else's stuff later. We'll be sifting through something if you guys want. Let me know who you're interested in me looking at. Just please don't send me like 4-hour-long videos. I will lose my goddamn mind. You guys have a good night.
Yeah.